BlogTalk Radio.
He is the last of his kind. All that remains of a once powerful nation. Some think he is a myth. Some believe he is the chosen one, who will bring balance to a world at war. And some will stop at nothing to destroy him.
Welcome to Moorish Talk Live 100. I'm your host, Tarhaka Amaana El Bey, and this evening our special guest will be the return of the Irritated Genie. Ladies and gentlemen, let me explain something to you. This brother here ain't playing. He on the front lines. He's doing some things. What I suggest you do is get you some paper and pencil handy, because the brother's going to deliver some stuff that you definitely need to understand. Okay? All right. So before we go any further, we're going to give you a little time to get yourself some paper and pencil handy. All right? I'm going to go to the quick commercial breaks, and when we come back, we will be ready to go in. I'm going to give you plenty of time to do what you have to do in order to come back. Y'all hold on a minute.
Okay, everybody, listen up. If you have been served with papers for foreclosure, or if you are already in court fighting foreclosure, call Tarhaka Amaana El Bey at area code 904-303-9061 for the foreclosure killer. You can visit our website at www.newdebtelimination.com. You don't have to lose your home. Call Tarhaka 904-303-9061 before 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stop foreclosure dead in its tracks. Okay? One more time. Our foreclosure killer package not only comes along with the necessary documents that you need, but also your very own personal coach to walk you through the process of saving your home. If you've been foreclosed on already, or if you've received documents stating that you'll be foreclosed on, or if you are already in the court fighting a foreclosure, contact Tarhaka Amaana El Bey, 904-303-9061. Also visit our website at www.newdebtelimination.com. Stop foreclosure on your property. Let's stop this unlawful practice. Contact me, 904-303-9061, before 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.
All right, we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take just one more break to give you plenty of time to get what you're going to need to hear what this brother is going to drop on you tonight. Me and him, we're going to be, I'll be asking the questions, he'll be answering them, and I guarantee you it will be vital for you to hear what we have to talk about this evening. But in the meantime, let me show you how I view it. Okay, y'all hold on a minute.
Como same, come. He lived in the jungle where he was born the king. His great strength made him lord of everything. No creature crossed his path and lived for long. His name, so legend tells us, was King Kong. His height was never measured, but was great. The jungle shook beneath his mighty weight. His arms were muscled, sturdy as a tree. His chest was thick and wide as it could be. Come on, me. Come on, Kong. Come on, me. Come on, Kong. Come on, me. He didn't dance or party. He spoke in times, but hardly. One woman heard his love call, but he was too big and too One day while Kong was sleeping on his back, a Tyrannosaurus launched a sneak attack. They fought. First Kong went down, then up again. The fight went on. No one knew who would win. Kong reached and seized the monster with both hands, then summoned all his strength at his command. He stretched the creature's mouth till it was split. Then like a child, began to play with it. He beat his hairy chest and looked around. 5 miles away, they heard his roaring sound. Come on, Tommy. Come on, Tommy Kong. Come on, Tommy. Come on, Tommy Kong. Come on, Tommy. He didn't dance or party. He spoke in times, but hardly. One woman heard his love call, but he was too big and too tall. From everyone he knew, he got respect. Whoever failed to give it, he'd correct. No creature crossed his path and lived for long. His name, so legend tells us, was King Kong. Come on, Tommy. Come on, Tommy Kong. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, Tommy Kong. Kong, Kong.
think what you're trying to ask is why am I so insistent upon giving out to them that blackness, that black power, that black pushing them to identify with black culture. I think that's what you're asking. I have no choice over it. In the first place, to me, we are the most beautiful creatures in the whole world, black people. I mean that in every sense, outside and inside. And to me, we have a culture that is surpassed by no other civilization, but we don't know anything about it. So again, I think I said this before in the same interview. I think at some time before, my job is to somehow make them curious enough or persuade them by hook or crook to get more aware of themselves and where they came from and what they are into and what is already there, and just to bring it out. This is what compels me to compel them, and I will do it by whatever means necessary. When I'm
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. It appears that my guest is in the queue. I'm going to open up the line and let us in so we can go on down in here in real life. Okay? Hold on a minute. Air code 202. You're on the air.
Yes, sir, my brother. How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm just fine, man. How you doing?
Fantastic. Happy to meet you again.
I hope I ain't cut up too much before you get in here, but we in now. It's on. What I want to do, I always start off stuff straight off the top, and we need to know what you got going, where you're going to be at in doing your appearances, and what you have to offer that we need to be able to get at. How can we get at it so we can get something going? Because we ain't just talking about something. That's great. We're going to do that. But we need to get something that we can put our hands on to make some change. So I yield the floor.
I appreciate it, my brother. Well, thank you for asking that. I can tell the people a few things we have going on. First of all, this weekend we have a very exciting event in Boston, Massachusetts. We're going to be at Kay's Oasis. That's K-A-Y, Kay's Oasis, 1117 Blue Hill Avenue in Dorchester, Massachusetts. That's in Boston. Again, that's Kay's Oasis, 1117 Blue Hill Avenue in Dorchester, Massachusetts. We're going to be doing the lecture, Feminization of Black Male. We're also going to do a brief tribute to Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. That's this Saturday, February 13th from 12 noon. It's $10 for brothers and sisters suggested donation. Again, that's Irritated Genie of Soufeese live in Boston, Massachusetts for the first time doing the lecture that our people have come to know and love, the feminization of the black male, this Saturday, February 13th at 12 p.m., 12 noon, Kay's Oasis, 1117 Blue Hill Avenue. Also, 2 weeks after that, February 27th, we're going to be in St. Louis, Missouri at the family, the Better Life, I don't have it in front of me, I'm sorry, I'm using good, but it's the Better Family Life Cultural and Business Center, the Better Family Life Cultural and Business Center in St. Louis with the Warriors Conference. It's going to be Baba Baruti, the elder, premier scholar of the 21st century. It's going to also be Professor Griff, a Public Enemy, and myself, Irritated Genie of Soufeese. I'm going to be doing a discussion I've never done before, first-time debut, called Killers, Cutthroats, and Warlords. We're going to talk about those Africans, those brothers and sisters in our past who may not necessarily have been quote-unquote freedom fighters. Some may have been, some may not have been, but they were people who got fed up with the abuse of African people and decided to do something about it. And we're going to show some of the things they did and talk about some of the things they did and talk about it in the context of the violence that we face as African people, the assault we are facing as African people worldwide, and how we have to start being unwilling to allow people to abuse us. So it's going to be something that all the brothers and sisters that's waiting to hear some tangible reality of what we need to begin to do to organize ourselves to defend our people, they're going to enjoy. Also, if you want to get information on just about any topic that's relevant to black people outside of health in terms of specifically targeting that as a discussion. But outside of that, most of the major areas of people activity, we have DVDs, lectures that are not just words, but we have pictures, we have videos, and we prove our point, and we give critical insight into the issues that are facing our people, whether it's child sexual abuse and issues that people face based on that, what to do about child sexual abuse, how to organize your community against it, the homosexuality and how it's permeating our community and devastating our people, how to view it, how to see it, how to fight it, how to protect your children from this homosexual assault in the schools and on the media and everywhere else you can find it. We also have things on business, mind your black business. We also have things where we address entertainment industry and explain exactly how entertainment works and what it's designed to do to the African mind. We have lectures on genocide, the different ways that African people are being targeted by other groups for extermination around the planet, and simple things and practical things we can do to avoid these. So on just about any subject or topic you might be interested in, even coming into consciousness for the first time. You got conscious a month ago or 2 months ago, a year, and you're trying to navigate shifting your mind and not losing all your friends and family and don't know exactly how to do it. Here's a roadmap that says, hey, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how you come into your consciousness in a relevant, mature, sophisticated, and easy, smoother fashion so that you don't ruffle the feathers of everybody around you and end up being a loner because you lost all your friends. So that one's called I'm Conscious Now What. So if you're interested in the information that we provide for our people, you can go to www.waronthehorizon.com, go into the section that says store, and once you go into our store, you can either get the electronic downloads or you can get the actual physical copies mailed to your house, and we have a multitude of different DVDs that we know you're going to appreciate and enjoy. We have a brand new one that came out today. Literally, we just dropped it. It's called Black People, Look What We've Done. It's the first lecture that we've ever done for youth because people said we need our young people to understand what they're facing from a youth perspective and to see what they're going into as young people and how to navigate what they're going into. And so we did a very inspirational discussion and lecture for young people when we had young people there, and we think it was very beneficial. People enjoyed it, and we just released it today. So, again, you can go to waronthehorizon.com. Go into our store, and you can purchase any of the items you see there that you have major interest to yourself. With that said, we also, lastly, you can go to Facebook and put in Straight Black Pride Movement and follow us on the Straight Black Pride Movement. What we have is a movement, it's an international movement where we have groups and chapters springing up all around this country and around the world. We have some in East Africa. We have people talking about doing one in Canada. We're interested in getting down into the Caribbean. So we have some very exciting things. And, again, it's the Straight Black Pride Movement. And essentially it's what we call the roadmap to African independence or black independence in the 21st century. We have to have a platform that people can participate in, whether it's business, whether it's social, whether it's health, whether it's law, whether it's labor, politics, religion, sex or war, entertainment, whatever it is that you do or that you're interested in. We have a platform that we are confident is relevant to your life, and you can participate in helping to change the condition that black people are facing all around the world, and not just the country, but all around the world. And you can focus on the area that is most fitting for you. And it is only allowed for black people who have three particular qualities. They're straight, meaning we're not allowing homosexuals, pedophiles, and various other sexual deviants in. You're black, means you're at least 3 out of your 4 grandparents are black. And you're proud, meaning you're not going to go around here using the N-word to disrespect our people as part of your standard language system. You're not going to go around here with your pants hanging down, brothers. We're not going to be dating outside of our race and acting foolish. We're going to be a proud, productive people that treat each other and speak to each other with courtesy and that will protect the lives of one another at all costs. And will build infrastructure for our race, support each other financially, and actually do something about the problems we see in our community instead of just sitting down and complaining about them. So we have a lot of great programs in the Straight Black Pride Movement, a lot of initiatives that we are doing, not just talking about, but we're involved in. and we want you to look at the Straight Black Pride Movement page on Facebook, follow it, see the things that we're doing, and then if you're interested in participating, if we have a chapter near you, you can reach out to us on Facebook, or you can reach out to us at unity@straightblackpride.com. That's unity@straightblackpride.com, and we can work something out where we can tell you when we're doing our next event where you can come out, potentially join, but at least check out and see what the movement is all about. So thank you for that time, my brother.
All right. Well, I certainly appreciate you laying it out for us so we can have access to get to what you have to offer, where you'll be at, so that we can actually go there and see you deliver this thing live. I've seen your photographs. I've seen the videos and stuff, so there's no doubt in my mind that you straight on the front lines. But I want to get down into the meat and potatoes of this thing, and because I say meat and potatoes, I have to start with grandchildren, because what I've come into the knowledge of, if I got out and I got into a car and my little baby son, my little baby daughter, or grandchildren come up there and say, "Granddaddy, can I go with you?" And I say, "Yes." And they get into the automobile. And back out the whole while, I'm driving and doing everything that I got to do. They're watching me like a hawk. If I got a beer in the cubicle down there, if I have a gun down up in there, they seeing all that. And to me, that says to them that I want to be like my granddaddy. I want to be like my grandmama. And what I see is what I'm going to imitate. How do you respond to that?
I respond to it by it's so imperative that we understand children are sponges, and children are the result of the seeds that are planted into their mind. Children don't generally become whatever they're going to become because of what they thought. They become what they're going to become because of the things they're exposed to. And there's nothing more important they can be exposed to than strong, proud black people, men, women, and other children. And so we have to understand that in today's world that we live in, we have to understand that we cannot be neutral about what we expose to our children, because the way the war is working now against African people, with the media power that they have, with the control over the black community and the institutions that govern our lives, the type of power, influence, and control that whites exhibited and hold over the black world community, particularly in America here, is such that they are constantly giving our children the wrong examples and bad ideas that are planted seeds in their minds that end up sprouting out and becoming devastation in our communities. Good example is this whole homosexual assault. We cannot turn on the television. We cannot get on the bus. We cannot get on a subway. We cannot go into a schoolroom. We cannot open up a book. We cannot leave our child around other children without them being exposed to sexual degeneracy, whether it's pornography, whether it's child pornography, whether it's filth and indecency on television, whether it's Empire, Scandal, whether it's interracial dating. There's almost nothing other than the intact families we have, where there's a black mother and father who respect and treat each other properly, who are raising a family. Outside of those instances, which are less than 30% of what we get in our communities, quite frankly, and it's much less than 30%. I'm being gratuitous to say 30%. Outside of those decent home and community environments, our children have almost nothing of value that's being put into their minds as to what it means to be a proud, productive black person of some substance and have some integrity. The Super Bowl was an excellent example. Anybody who watched the Super Bowl this past weekend, if you saw it, then you might have saw a decent game that turned out probably in a way that you didn't enjoy, to see the brother not win, and maybe a halftime show that you enjoyed by watching Beyonce. If you paid attention to it, as opposed to seeing it, if you actually witnessed and saw and understood what happened, it was a whole day of promoting every degenerate behavior that we can imagine on our people, from the desecration of the Black Panther Party to the disrespect and the representing of black women as a group of licentious, disrespectful, sex-starved whores, to effeminized males, to bestiality in the commercials, to the very homosexual agenda being. They actually had a point at halftime where they had these hundreds of thousands of people in the stadium hold up cards, and they all made a rainbow, and it said, "Believe in love." So literally they're promoting the rainbow, homosexual, sexual decadence, calling it love, and actually recruiting unknowing people into the promotion of this madness who might not even believe or promote this stuff, or who wouldn't have done it if they knowingly knew what they were doing when they was holding these things up. And this is a very sick and sad state of affairs, because as black people, we are not witnessing enough black people who have resources and a voice stand up and point out the sickness of what we're looking at. We actually have black people who are pointing to Beyonce's behavior as something positive, which would indicate that it would be something that they would want their daughter to participate in. She's more than half naked. She's three-quarter naked, always got her legs cracked wide open, gyrating in leather, almost like, what's that stuff they call sadomasochist kind of, that leather sexual weird European madness, having our sisters in afros like they're Black Panthers and natural hair, but then half naked, so it's disrespecting the Panther Party. These sisters had guns and weapons and berets representing that they were part of an organization that fed the black community and stood up for the rights of black community and were willing to take lives or give their own life if necessary to protect their community. Now they're being desecrated with just a bunch of females under the leadership of this sister we call Beyonce, who's really being led by our enemies and finance to put the most negative messages on our people possible. And so, like you were saying before, if you got grandchildren or children, no one is protecting our children's minds. The best quarterback, even though he lost the Super Bowl, the most talented quarterback in the game of football today, Cam Newton. This guy is going around wearing women's clothing in public. He's wearing ballerina dresses. He's completely involved. He's hopping in tubs and commercials with white males in ice tubs with them. He's presenting himself as a complete homosexual and transvestite. And instead of our community saying, hey, this guy's not acceptable, we're not even going to support him until he decides he wants to be a man, we have people that are giving excuses for this behavior, not understanding the damage that's doing to our 4-year-old and 5-year-old sons who are watching this, seeing him as some kind of hero, and our 10-year-old sons, once they really get into football. Our youth are seeing these individuals as superheroes. And what that is going to lead to is into our people, particularly our young people, following in their footsteps, ultimately walking into a way of sexual deviance and a lifestyle that will be very demeaning and damaging to them. We do not have a community that's organized in such a way that we are properly protecting the minds and the futures of our people, and it's devastating our community.
Okay. Well, let me ask you something. Now, this thing, inhumane degradation, is this restricted to a certain group, a species of people, or is this thing being promoted by all races, regardless of color?
Okay, excellent question. It's being promoted to all races, regardless of color. However, there are slight nuances. that are and very different things. So, for instance, okay, it's being promoted to whites as well, and it's destroying the standard Anglo-Saxon, white, traditional American family structures. So it is doing damage to whites as well. The difference between what it's doing to whites and it's also being promoted to Asians, is being promoted to Arabs. So it's having a negative impact on just about every group I can think of around the world. Here's the thing that separates what's happening to black people from what's happening to all these other people. We were the test case. There are 40 million black people in America. And what the white supremacists and the white so-called Jews, we call them small hats, who are really they represent the mind of white supremacy, so we'll call them the white supremacists. We're really talking about the Zionists or white so-called Jews. We call them small hats. They're the ones that really control the mind interests of racism, white supremacy, and oppression of black people and the world. The difference is we are the test case where they realize they have, when you're doing a scientific experiment, you're looking for what they call a control, meaning something that you control the circumstances and you can test on it and see what the outcome of the test is, and then you can take that and go apply it to others. So as African people, we are a group of people that they can test every idea of mind manipulation, slavery, sexual terrorism, economic terrorism. They can test out brutality and strategies of warfare against our people, perfect them, and then take them around the world.
Okay.
We are being focused on the destruction of the black race because we are the most resistant to European sexual anti-culture. We're the most resistant to pedophilia. We're the most resistant to homosexuality. We have the most resistance, but in reverse, we're the most creative, so that once we do accept something, we can take it much further than others. So they use our talent and our personalities and our creativity to usher in the worst concepts, ideas, and culture they can come up with. And then they fight to prevent those of us that want to protect our people's culture and want to use our talent in our own interest. They fight against us and prevent us from having access to our people to take our people in the right direction. So, in short, homosexuality, the pedophilia, the homosexual assault is having a worse impact on African people than everybody else because we are the primary target as we're used as a control to test this on and to determine what strategies are most effective. And once it works on us, then they use our talent to spread it out throughout the rest of the world.
Well, let me ask you something. Now, do you think and believe, second, that it is possible for somebody to launch this type of assault without for destruction, without destroying themselves at the same time?
I'm going to say it like this. A very good question again. For the white race, it's a very complicated discussion because there are two groups that are of primary concern. The group that is pushing it on everybody, including the other group of whites, which is the small hats, the white so-called Jews, and then the Anglo-Saxon whites. Both groups equally hate black people. However, within the context of their own racial construct, they have their own war going on. So to answer your question, if we understand the difference between how the modus operandi and the way that they operate of the small hats and the average Anglo-Saxon, what we realize is that homosexuality and this whole war that's being waged is part of European culture. So even though it can devastate or do harm to their civilization or their family structure or whatever the case may be, to their national interests, at the end of the day, it is who they are. It's their culture. So it doesn't have the same impact on them that it has on us because it's not our culture. It's not who we are. We haven't been doing this for a couple thousand of years. This is the very core of their culture. So that's one piece. So it won't destroy them the way it destroys us in that regard. Now, if you look at it from the perspective of the fact that the small hat or the white so-called Jew is orchestrating a population control agenda, which means the mass extermination of black, red, yellow, and some large groups of whites as well internationally. then it kind of goes to your point that they're not, in doing this, they're not just destroying African people. They are going to kill substantial numbers of people around the planet, the ones we're most concerned about, our own people, but it's more than just black people that are being destroyed. So they are not going to destroy themselves in this process because it is their culture and because they can take this behavior and still live through it because it's who they are. However, even though it won't destroy them the way it'll destroy us, it is having a negative impact on the Anglo-Saxon.
Okay. Now, the reason I asked you that because I had a situation personally where I was dealing with an individual, and we told this individual that the only thing they had to do is go outside in the yard and take the axe that we gave them and chop the root of this thing. We'll pull the tree down. And when we walked outside, the people around, I don't know how they got the message, but everybody was standing out there watching it. And these people personally knew me. And I walked out with him, put the axe in his hand. And he began to hit at the root as if he was a woman. But there were so many people around that I couldn't kill him. So I had no choice but to bring him on back in. Because this thing, to me, is very, very serious. And we got a caller with his hand raised, but before I open up the line, I want to let you know how I feel about it. Because me personally, I just go up there like a bad storm and detonate. But this thing here, I could not do that because it was as if someone had put on red alert about the situation that was about to occur. And when I looked across the yards, people that I'd never seen before were standing out in the yard and on both sides of the fence. And I looked all around. I said, okay, and knew what might could possibly take place. But in my opinion, this is very, very dangerous and devastating. And I think, personally, it should be destroyed. I don't think that people who, and this is just some stuff I got from somebody else, they should be cast out, but I do think they need to understand that this type of behavior is totally unacceptable because I don't know what to do with it. I don't know nothing about it. Where I came from, it did not exist, and it was just one way because I was raised a certain kind of way, and people that I seen doing and living, I ain't know nothing about that kind of stuff. You know, the men, they had a problem with one another. They worked it out, fought or whatever. Wasn't none of that kind of business. So based on the research that I've done, I've seen that it comes from a certain society because the only place, because I'm a Moor, and the Moors and the Egyptians are one and the same people. I've looked in our art, I looked in our archives, I've looked throughout our ancient story. I have yet to find it. But when I go and look in other his story, I find it existing, acceptable, proliferating, and existing in the United States today. So therefore, and thus, in my opinion, I don't care what they say about medical or none of that. It came from somewhere. And I personally believe that, and I don't want to be, get all upset about it. I think we need to discuss it. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this other line here. Hold on a moment. Area code 111111111111111. Come on in.
Okay. Hold up, brother.
Hold
up. Can
you me hot?
All right. This is Metaphorical. I talked with you yesterday, Tarhaka.
Okay, so.
Hold up, Jamie.
How you doing, my sister?
All right. This is Miss White.
Say it again.
I said, this is Kamit's wife. We were on DJ show. We hosted.
Hey, how you been? It's been a long time.
All right. And all the time I called to her yesterday, and every time.
Sound like your phone breaking up, sister. You gotta speak on, cut the speaker off. Come on, talk to us right on the phone so we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, loud and clear.
You say yeah? Oh, okay. I had talked to Tarhaka yesterday, trying to get on the show because I want to be a guest because I want to talk about what you're talking about, Jeannie, that nobody talk about is this problem we got. Nobody want to talk about it. And what I talk about, what me and my husband discuss is the black woman is the problem. Nobody want to hear that. The black woman, huh?
I was asking Jeannie, what do you think?
Of course, as a man, I wouldn't exactly state it that way, but I can certainly agree that black women are definitely in pretty bad shape, and they could do a whole lot more to help us out of this condition. I would agree with that 100%.
What I mean is, I got an echo.
Okay, that speak off. Cut the speak off.
Oh, damn. Okay. What I mean is the black woman. She is, if the black woman disagreed with homosexuality, the law wouldn't have never passed. All these faggots wouldn't be walking around so free and think it's okay. The black woman is, I know where the program comes is from the white man. I understand that. But they can sit down now, just relax. Because the black woman got this. The black woman got this. Everywhere you go, you just pay attention what they doing. I had a friend. I went over her house one day unannounced because we had been discussing things like this. And she agreed with me. Yeah, these damn faggots. So I went over there one day, a faggot sitting in the living room. What I'm saying, even if a black woman agreed with you about the homosexual problem, she's still behind it. A black woman, it's so bad till today, a black woman, if she has a son, she would prefer him to be a faggot. They can go shopping together, go get their nails done together, and then they were so tight. We along so much better now. Yeah, I'm telling you, we need to look at this. And the black woman is holding everybody hostage, so ain't nobody gonna say nothing because you asleep on the couch or she got some punishments for you. So ain't nobody really talking about her, and anybody that do, you attack. So we have to be strong enough. Because I don't hear anybody else talking about the black woman when this is the root of the problem. This is where we need to start doing our work too.
Well, for me, what I appreciate is it's always good to hear a sister talking about it, because the reason I say that, from a male perspective, feeling as though it's the men's responsibility to protect our race and our community, the reality of it is, as men who are responsible, we shouldn't be blaming somebody else for our failure to protect our community, because, quite frankly, if we had correctly and successfully fought these whites off, they wouldn't be having access to our women to turn our women as crazy as they become to turn against us. So we failed.
Right.
At the same time, it's very difficult for brothers like myself to speak out against the sisters and help them realize their wrongness, because they become so arrogant that they can't hear it. So it's always good when a sister like you comes on Because you can start laying out the things that sisters aren't doing right, and if the sisters take responsibility for their behavior, and we as men take responsibility for our behavior, we can change our situation.
Exactly. And we got to quit being so afraid of her and really, just tell the truth so we can move on. But I haven't met anybody strong enough to speak with her and tell the truth. It's strange. It's like until we can do this. Excuse me?
Do me a favor. I want you to do me a favor because I'm real hard on Beyonce. Could you talk to me about how you feel about her gyrating and the image that she portrays of black women and how much damage that can do to the minds of our young daughters and sons?
Man, let me take off my jacket.
You ain't gonna swing on nobody, baby.
Ooh. Oh, the sad part about it, she got, I have a very unusual last name, and she got my last name. And everybody tell me, oh, you might be related to Beyonce. No, I'm not. And I'm not going to look. The music is so bad, including Beyonce, till I don't even listen to music no more. I can't, if it ain't old school, I can't even listen. And that straight hair and bright skin and naked, we don't understand that this is why your daughter walking around looking like this. And you buying the clothes to put them on, so she can put them on. So you think it's okay, too. This is a problem. That's what I'm saying about the black woman. She think it's cute, too. So she dresses her daughter up this way. And dyes her hair and make it straight. And, oh, yeah, she look kind of like Beyonce, don't she? Yeah, girl, she's beautiful. Now, when we look at if that's our standard of beauty, we got big problems. We got a whole bunch of work to do. If you look at that as beauty. And a sister, you can talk to her, and she'll say, oh, yeah, you're right. Beyonce, she look like a hoe. And then she'll go dress her daughter like that and go get some Beyonce this and that. This is what I'm saying. This is a problem with trying to deal with a sister because me and my husband, we teach, and I get in sister circles where nobody else can go. Brothers can't go. I go like I used to anyway. I can't stand the clubs no more, but I used to just go anywhere where I see a group of sisters. And every time I sat with them, I just want to listen to what they're talking about. And this is the things they're talking about. Like the Beyonce, all that, the problems that we have. They think it's a beautiful thing. And ain't nobody ever that I've seen in my lifetime, sisters, said anything positive about a black man. So they can't stand a black man.
Hold on a minute. Now. But real the problem is. But in your opinion, sister, and I'm so glad that you called in your opinion, what is the solution, in your opinion, to the problem?
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. We have to be strong enough to take the first step in order to tell her the truth.
How we gonna be strong enough? What steps are we gonna take to make sure that we solve the problem, in your opinion?
What steps do we take to solve the problem? This is what I'm saying. The first step is to get enough strength up to talk to her. Another woman, as women, I haven't met another woman that want to work with me. Right at this moment, I'm by myself. But, the brother has to be strong enough to talk to his wife. That's your wife. You sleep with her every night. Why can't you tell her the truth? I'm saying, how can we do anything if we can't even talk? We can't even be real as a people to each other. So this is what I'm working on. It's hard for me to get my people to tell the truth, to talk to her, talk to your mama, talk to your wife. Well, no, I can't do that because this is what I can't get past it first, So with me and my me and my husband, we have groups sometimes, and we had some brothers go and in front of the store, grocery stores, that's where you can find a whole bunch of sisters. And we had roses, and we passed them out to the sisters, and the brothers one at a time from their heart said what they needed to say. I'm sorry for whatever I've done to make you so angry. And then he give her a rose. Yeah, just little things, anything at this point will help. She's so damn angry, and just to do something nice for her. Just gave her a rose, and she just started crying. The sisters was just crying. Just, oh, thank you. Just little things. She's so damn angry till you have to kind of break that evilness before you can speak with her, So we try to do the nice things for her and then speak with her, Say, we're sorry. How can I help,
Okay. Well,
come on, brother. Yeah, if we're talking about solutions, what I would say, if we actually want to curb the black woman's current emissary position that she's taken for Satan, really representing the interests of white supremacy and rubber stamping and supporting every filthy bird in the black community, if we want to stem the tide of her effeminizing the sons and really using her womb as a homosexual manufacturing plant, one thing I think we need to understand as black men is that a large percentage of the problem of the way our women feel about us and why they're able to be used as tools for our racial destruction has to do with the fact that we have not adequately dealt with sexual abuse in our community. As men, there are no excuses. It is our responsibility to take into consideration that anybody who intentionally, with malice or forethought, sexually abuses one of our children has forfeited their right to live on this planet. And it is our job not to necessarily call the police, but to fix the problem. And at this point, upwards of 70% of our daughters, in my estimation, in the black community, prior to the age of 18, is going to be sexually abused. Many destroyed in that process. Not all, but many. And it has created such a groundswell of resentment and hatred, in addition to the accompanying media portrayal of black men as enemies of black women, in addition to the economic situation where European economic terrorism, they prevent black males or black men from being able to get jobs and be upwardly mobile. When you add all of the circumstances in together, the mass incarceration, the homosexuality in our community, it leads black women to a bitterness with a group of men who, again, we call ourselves men, but yet every single one of us, even my daughter was born. My daughter's 4 years old. Now, of course, I don't let her hear this music, but the reality of it is, as a black male, I'm in an environment where I have allowed black males who are being financed by whites to make music that calls my daughter an N-word and a B and a hoe every day of her life. Even if she doesn't hear it yet, she is not going to always be in my protective custody. She's going to hear it because as men, we haven't done our jobs in protecting our women and children. So I think if we're talking about beginning the process of solutions, we should not, as men, be thinking of criticizing our women only. We should be thinking about being the kind of men that sisters like this that's on the line now say, these are the good men, why are you women doing it? As opposed to, I'm just going to be honest, we have a valley of dry bones in terms of strong black manhood. Sure, there are individual examples, but in terms of collective, organized, aggressive black men working on behalf of our community, we don't see it. So how is it that we expect our women to avert or avoid getting pulled into this war against our men when we're allowing them to be molested, when we call them bees and whores, when we're living every ridiculous fantasy of Negrodom we can possibly imagine, and not being men, responsible men for our children and women in our community, and then expect our women going to be any better than we are. And I think it's just not going to work that way.
No. What I'm saying is the women raise the men. That's why you don't have a lot of men. All this prison problem, most of black women, still the problem. If we look at the root, it's still the black woman. And she's raising these men. That's why they aren't men anymore. Until she's cured and she can raise men again.
Well,
that's why we have such a problem.
Wait a minute. Wait. Because, okay, I have to agree with you somewhat. But in order to raise a male child, that's going to take the parental coalition between a man and a woman. Because in order for the male to know how to do it, in spite of if he in between mom and daddy, if it's a daddy, and he gonna grow up to be a daddy and be a man, he can only imitate what he sees. In order for him to make the transformation from boy to man, make the transformation from cub to lion, he's going to have to hear the roar of the lion in order for him to know what it sounds like. So,
but what is a black woman saying?
Talking about, huh?
But what is a black woman saying? I'm the mama and the daddy. She done ran the daddy off. We understand this. But what I'm saying is a black woman needs to understand this.
Let's take a look at the circumstances that we are currently in right now. Okay, we got a massive assault against the so-called black males on Earth. Period. That's because he is a real dick. So therefore, all the little other people who wish they was him have to try to destroy him, imprison him, run him out of town, destroy him, imprison him, run him out of town again, and all that to be him and put themselves in a position to act like him. So that leaves sisters without a male factor. But my question is, being in this position, how do we deal with it? Because me personally, it snuck up on me. Go ahead.
Huh? What I'm saying is, you talking about the prison, what's the root of that? Black woman again.
Yeah, but we
can't. Men ain't around.
We can't just
most
blame
of them.
Her.
No.
Because let me tell you something.
Okay, go ahead.
Hold on a minute. This is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at it this way. This is just what I'm seeing. I believe, based on what I'm seeing, because I don't believe in stuff. When I say believe, I'm dealing with research and statistics of what I'm seeing. If sisters had access to all the males in abundance that were available, the same way that we have an abundance of sisters today, there would be no problem. I think it will reduce with the homosexuality thing because, and the reason I say this because, and I know what I'm talking about, because when I was 14, 15, 16, I had a sister. And this thing has started Vietnam. There was some of the most bone-breaking, shattering men the world has ever seen. Y'all thought Muhammad Ali was something. You thought Walter Payton was something. You ain't seen nothing like these kind of men. You couldn't, even Jim Brown would tell you he wouldn't even go outside. He could hear bones shattering between the men that came before him. But the thing is, this sister here, she's strictly dickly. When we get out of school, she tried to convince me that the guys that were traveling with her and her crew across the street is all everybody respect, but the boy that was handling, walking along with him, he was a man. I said, no. Ain't no man, there's nothing wrong with that boy. And this went on for years until one day she called me and she said, you know what? I think you was right. I think he's gay because I seen him with lipsticks on and a dress and stuff, and he told me, and I seen him, and I know, I told you that 5 years ago. What was it in your brain to make you think that he wasn't what I told you he was? So I think it is something going on inside the sisters that embraces something that they can recognize. But I don't think that we should dim them. I think that this thing comes from someplace else. Now, me personally, I don't have all the statistics. I just have a big fat jaw with a sign on it that say, I wish you would, and I got a gun over here. Now, I'm trying to work this thing out between the broadcast and bringing y'all on. You on, Brother Genie?
Yeah. I would go back to what I was just saying again. If we want to repair the problem, we have to be able to focus on some very tangible realities. We cannot have 70% of our women being sexually abused and then think that they're going to grow up to be healthy black women who are going to then support us and be the queens that we're looking for to support us in this war against white supremacy. The reality of the Europeans have created a cycle of us violating and damaging our women. Then they go to those women and offer them the opportunity to come in and destroy us. And then those women, even if it's unconsciously, like the sister's saying, they accept. And then they go out and they feminize and destroy these young boys. They destroy the men in their lives that they married or that they have these children by. They become some of the most destructive forces in our community. But even though I agree with the sister in terms of the final outcome in terms of their behavior, I also realize, again, I take responsibility as a man. It's not our women's fault that they're getting sexually abused. Yes, we know that many of the women allow these men to do it and allow their children to stay there. But the reality of it is, as men, once we know that there's a problem, it's our responsibility to address it. And quite frankly, we more concerned with smoking a blunt and trying to get marijuana legalized and drinking some liquor and trying to sell some dope and going to a shake joint than we are with securing loans for our people to get homes, building communities, stocking weapons, training our sons to protect our communities, and getting our daughters married off to decent young men who are going to be great mates with them and going to bring us grandchildren in the future. So as men, it's our responsibility to provide leadership and some assessment. And I'm saying I've made the assessment and nobody wants to deal with it. Nobody really wants to deal with the fact that we have an epidemic that's really now becoming international, a pandemic of black children being sexually violated and ravaged. And nobody wants to talk about it. Well, I mean, okay, but guess what? Those little girls that got brutalized like that, they're not going to grow up to be these wonderful, supportive black women. They're going to grow up to be these same women we see out here that we can't stomach in our presence. And then we go and wonder why our women act this way when we're not being the men that we're supposed to be. So as a man, that's my perspective. But I appreciate the sister's perspective because she can say more about the aspect of the reality of what black women are doing to contribute to the destruction of our race. And the sister can hear better from her because she's a black woman. I think that's important. Yeah.
And you... everybody's taking her for granted. People don't understand. See, when you're a black woman, you know, I can tell you things, but you haven't experienced because you're not a black woman. I'm telling you, people are underestimating this. She's a monster. This, everything you're talking about, molestation, all this, the sister is the root. I don't want you to misunderstand me. I love sisters. This is why I sacrifice my time to help them. They need help, and ain't nobody really talking about the issue to help them. The jail, ain't hardly no brothers. Whatever you saying, it's still the root. It's still the sister. This is the power right now. What you say?
Do you think it's deliberate on her part, or do you think she is reacting to a deliberate assault against the race?
Most are subconsciously. But I've met some, they don't give a damn. They know what they're doing. I don't want to hear that. I enjoy this. Sisters come to me and laugh and talk about how many brothers they done turned out on crack during the day. That's what they do every day. They go turn brothers out on crack. And then there's some sisters, they make sure they get into bed with them so they can use the dildos, the toys on the men, have them on their stomach, and the men are turning on their stomach. Well, if you do this and then I'm going to do that.
But here's my question again. What kind of man that you can call a man is going to let a woman put anything in his behind?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what. Exactly.
The men have to take some culpability in this too. We can't say.
Of course, that's a whole nother. Yeah, I talk about the men too, but I was just talking about the sisters, the root right now. Yeah, the brothers. Yeah, they got problems, and that's why.
Let me say this. I can't agree that the women are the root. I'll say it like this. Do I agree that the women are substantially involved in the destruction of our race? Yes, black women are tearing the race apart. However, again, we got to go, for me, it's important as a man, I got to be honest about it. In an honest assessment, the women didn't lose the wars to these whites. We did. So we can't blame our women for being victims of racism and white supremacy and then turn around and say they victimizing us. Well, why did we let our women get in a position where some other males could come and turn them into something that could do harm to us?
Right.
We got to be men, too.
Yeah. What'd you say?
I said we got to be men. Look. Nobody.
Yeah.
Pities,
But okay,
nobody pities the lion who says he's being attacked by the hyena. If you're a lion, you don't get no pity. As black men, we don't have any reason to be crying. There's nobody for us to cry to. We're men. We're males. They got white males on their side. We should be fighting them. If we're not fighting them, then no. I'll say it like this. I fight these crackers. I fight the whites. I'm not one of these folks that talk. I fight them. I give them everything I got. So I don't expect.
That's why I love you.
Yes, ma'am. And that's why we get along. But see, this is what I'm saying. I don't expect no foolishness from me, from no black woman. I'm not tolerating it. But I can't pretend like the microcosm of me and the brothers I work with are a reflection of black men. That would be dishonest. If I can't even imagine being a woman because I ain't one. But if I, just in my mind, could think what I would think of black males as a woman, I don't agree with it, I hate it, and I don't tolerate it, but I'll be honest with you. I almost see why black women are acting the way they are. We're doing nothing to try to recapture our race. We got a bunch of race traitors in front positions and calling it leadership, a bunch of egomaniacs, a bunch of criminals, a bunch of liars, a bunch of pedophiles, a bunch of punks, homosexuals. I mean, what do black women have to look for black men but a bunch of race traitors?
Yeah, but all that come from black woman. Most of it. The black woman creates all that, what you just said.
Hold on
you know, at the beginning, the brother might have dropped the ball, but what I'm talking about is what's happening today. I understand the brother's a problem too, but I'm just saying nobody's whatever she say go. She running this. And if she's contaminated, guess what? Everybody else is. She raised the children, she raised the men, she raising everybody. So how we have a chance if we don't heal the black woman? That's all I'm saying.
We don't.
Okay, y'all hold on a minute. I'm going to open up this other line and let the next caller in. Area code 972. You're on the air.
Oh, hi, brother. Hi, brother Tarhaka and guest. Hey, my name is Sharon Hunter Bay. I'm out of Jacksonville, Florida. And I just been listening in to your show and the comments and everything that's going on about black women and black men and things of that nature. I got to say that just my impression of just listening in on the conversation, it just seems to be to me that the sister on the line seems to be that she has her priorities in check of wanting to help the black women know more about themselves and things of that nature, but it also comes off as being very negative to me. I kind of was a little bit offended by some of the things that was being said by black women, just because it was grouped together as a generalization. I don't think you can do that as just group all us together and say black women are the root of all the cause. They might have like the brother was saying, they definitely have a large part in what's going on between the relations between black men and black women, but I can't agree with them being the root cause of everything that's going on, simply because I believe that their minds or whatever was swayed by somebody else with the destruction of the black family and divide and conquer. So they knew how to get to the black people was mostly by separating the female from the man. And then at that point in time, a lot of incentives and things and federal handout and money and things was given to the black women. And they kind of got it in their head that they were more than what they might have been. And they didn't see the picture. They didn't see the whole picture. But I believe that half of the reason maybe why black women out there do have a negative attitude towards men, black men, and it might be just because of how they've been presented, how they're portrayed and things of that nature in the industry. And a lot of black women out there just don't feel like black men can protect them anymore. Like the brother say, 70% of black women before they reach a certain age are more likely to be molested or abused. Where are the men? There used to be a time when the men would stand up and not let nothing like that. We got to take back charge of our communities. Maybe if men present themselves in a better light and start taking back up for black women like they used to be, then maybe black women will have a more positive outlook on black men. But I just say the whole problem with black men and black women, I can't put all that as the root cause of all that's going on and what's troubling them in the black woman. I think it's mutual between both of them. Have some issues to work on.
Okay, Jeannie?
That's my opinion.
What do you think, Jeannie?
I'm going to tell you something. I want to say to the sister, first of all, thank you for this call. The reason I say that, because this kind of conversation, I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect this, but the kind of conversation we're having here now is when black men and women can be honest with each other. Even though you disagree with the sister, the way she said a little bit, and I do too, but the point is, I understand her point, and I appreciate your point, and I think you're hearing my point, but this is the thing. If black women can't say, like you're saying, that black men need to stand up and present themselves better and protect their women and children in order to get some better respect, if I can't hear you say that without getting offended, and then if my sister can't say that black women are doing a terrible job without us at least having dialogue, then what happens is we all end up leaving angry. But instead, everybody here is stating their positions, and now we can start talking about, okay, what is the real organic reality of what it's going to take for us to repair our community? We got to be able to have these kind of dialogues. So I thank you for the spirit that you came in. It's mature, and in my opinion, it's exactly what we need to fix our problems. We got to be able to be honest with each other, call it what it is, and say, okay, the black women got to say, okay, brothers, these are the things that we need for you, tangible, real things that we can do. And then the brothers got to say, okay, sisters, these are the things that we need from you, tangible, real things that the sisters can do. And then those of us that care about the future of our people can say, okay, we're going to make an honest effort to improve on these things. I think we could change things overnight. We might not fix them overnight, but we can definitely make them better overnight.
Come on,
okay, I agree. I agree with that, definitely. And everybody's entitled to their opinion or whatever they want to believe in it and things of that nature. Like what I had to say was just my opinion on it. What she had to say was her opinion on how she sees it and things of that nature. And I'm not saying that either one of us is 100% correct in our views, but that's just the way we each call it. And I find it sometimes, I'm an ex-educator too in the public school system, and I've had the opportunity to discuss with many black girls, different things on how to carry themselves and things of that nature and respecting people. But I think the solution to it is just what the sister is doing, going and trying to talk to people and educating people and trying to get people to learn more about themselves. That's what I believe the solution is. If we can somehow get people, our people, to know themselves and know more about their history and where we came from, then it wouldn't be so hard to see each other in a better light.
And if I could say one more thing to what she's saying, because I can bear witness on something that she said. Now, I'm just saying this. I'm just being honest on this conversation, but I'm not promoting that this is correct. I'm just talking about my own personal feeling. When I watch, matter of fact, I can't even hear the word Beyonce without getting this disgusting feeling. But when I watch the way that she behaves, it begins to create a hatred. I'm going to use the actual word. I'm not even going to lie to you. I don't even think it's healthy. But when I see her with that blonde weave, with that nasty, naked, licentious behavior, and I got a little daughter, my stomach turns so much. The reason I'm saying that is because I have a personal disdain for her based on what I see she's doing and the impact it's having on our young people. I can only imagine if one black woman doing this, even though I know she didn't put herself up to do it, it doesn't matter. If I can look at her and get a pain in my stomach whenever she's mentioned, and it starts to impact my sense of black women. No, I don't say all black women are like that, but it does impact my sense of black women that she's acting this way. It makes me feel like she's disrespecting and why are women so low. If that one female can do that, then I'm trying to figure out, as a black woman being molested and raped and seeing brothers don't have a problem with it and bees and doing it, how do black women supposed to feel about us if it's not no one brother doing that, if it's everywhere they look, every other word out of brother's mouth is bee and hoe and this, that, and the other, and in and this, and all he's doing all day is drinking and smoking and disrespecting and just not doing right, and then they shooting brothers and sisters in the street, and then we shoot each other in our community, but then we don't have no response for when we get a real war going on. I'm trying to figure out, if I feel this way about Beyonce, how do black women feel after decades now of just abuse and unfortunately too much of it coming from black men? So I understand how we can look out there and not intentionally fall into a trap of hatred, because I cannot stand seeing her face, hearing her name. I can't even tell you the kind of feeling I get. She disgusts me. I can't even find words. I don't remember the last time I felt this way about a black female.
Well, I can respect that, and also, but you know, she's in that public limelight, and that's another thing. Media and stuff, they publicize negative images of blacks, and now they're presenting her as a positive image. She has millions of fans that they don't have the opinion that you have of her. When they look at her, they just, I know people, I know some of my own people, that when Beyonce is coming on TV, like in the Super Bowl the other day, they was breaking their neck to see Beyonce, anything. So, but that's what the media is putting out there and popularizing that type of image, and she accepted that image, and she's not portraying the black women, and I don't think she represents me in any light. And I can understand your feelings also, because she does have an effect on other young black girls and things of that nature out there all the time. And like the sister said, people get their kids, their girls, and because the media and everybody says that this is beautiful, Beyonce is beautiful, then they want to try to make their daughters look beautiful and be accepted along like that. That maybe they can achieve the same thing that a Beyonce had. But that's not the image that we want to portray to our young black girls and black guys and things of that nature at all, not in my opinion. I don't follow Beyonce. I don't have none of her music. I don't listen to any of her music or watch her, but that's my opinion, because I don't like the way she represents black women and things of that nature. But to get other young black girls and stuff to change from that, it's got to start with us, black women, because we are the more nurturing kind. We got to start with black women. We got to start with black women and let us teach our girls that that's not the image that we want you to portray. That's not who we want you to personify yourself against. And teach them more about their history and where they came from and where their people came from, so that they can have a more positive outlook and have something to to arm themselves against the media and Beyonce's in the world.
Mm. Well, let me ask y'all this now. We've covered a great deal on this particular subject, and I want to get into because I want to talk to Brother Irritated Genie about his experience in the southern states, Mississippi, Alabama, and down here. But before I do, I need y'all to hold on for one little quick minute, and then when we come back, we'll deal with that. And I appreciate it if y'all will hold on and give me your opinion on that as well. Okay?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So y'all hold on a minute, and we will be right back. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all got pencil and paper so we can get it down in here. Okay? Hold on a moment. Yo.
The name of this tune is Mississippi Goddamn. And I mean every word of it. Alabama's got me so upset. Tennessee made me lose my rest. And everybody knows about Mississippi Goddamn. Alabama's got me so upset. Tennessee made me lose my rest, and everybody knows about Mississippi Goddamn. Can't you see it? Can't you feel it? It's all in the air. I can't stand the pressure much longer. Somebody say a prayer. Alabama's got me so upset. Tennessee made me lose my rest, and everybody knows about Mississippi Goddamn. This is a show tune, but the show hasn't been written for it yet. Hound dogs on my trail, school children sitting in jail, black cat cross my path. I think every day's gonna be my last. Lord have mercy on this land of mine. We all gonna get it in due time. I don't belong here, I don't belong there. I've even stopped believing in prayer. Don't tell me, I'll tell you. Me and my people just about do. I've been there, so I know. Keep on saying, go slow. But that's just the trouble. Washing the windows, picking the cotton. You're just plain rotten. You're too damn lazy. You're thinking it's crazy. Where am I going? What am I doing? I don't know. Just try to do your very best. Stand up, be counted with all the rest. 'Cause everybody knows about Mississippi Goddamn. I bet you thought I was kidding, dude. Picket lines, school boycotts, they try to say it's a communist plot. All I want is equality for my sister, my brother, my people, and me. Yes, you lied to me all these years. You told me to wash and clean my ears and talk real fine, just like a lady, and you'd stop calling me Sister Sadie. Oh, this whole country is full of lies. You all gonna die and die like flies. I don't trust you anymore. Keep on saying, go slow. Go slow. segregation, mass participation, unification, do things gradually, but bring more tragedy. Why don't you see it? Why don't you feel it? I don't know. You don't have to live next to me. Just give me my equality. Everybody knows about Mississippi. Everybody knows about Alabama. Everybody knows about Mississippi. That's it.
Okay, Brother Genie, we're back, man.
All right. Well, let me
Have you-
explain something. Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
You asked about my experience in the South, and I always say this statement, and I say it before I start discussing about North and South. And this has been my experience. I've found that in the people in the North, the black people in the North, are what I would classify as smarter, meaning they can talk very articulate, and they can break down every aspect of what we're dealing with, generally speaking, in the North. They're a lot smarter, a lot faster fighters. Very, very good at articulating the problem and breaking it down. In my personal experience, the people in the South are more intelligent. What I mean by that, you can have all these people in the North that are talking and breaking it down to every nth letter of articulating the problems we face as a race of people, but it's not reflected in anything they've produced. In my experience, you go down to a person who's totally clueless in the South, and you give them the same information. You come back in 2 years, they built something. Meaning, it's something about the Southern culture in the places where it's not totally corrupted, where the brothers and sisters in the South, once they get an idea and understand it, they have the ability to take it and make a living reflection of their new understanding, where they might not talk as fast. They might take a little longer to get there, but when they get there, they actually got there. They're not just still talking. Now, that is not to demean the North or the South, because it's important to have people who can articulate the problem, because that's where the light bulb comes off. But for me, if I was looking to I'm answering kind of your question, my experience in the South has been like this. It might be because my family is from Virginia, rural Virginia, Emporia, Virginia, which is, it might sound like it's north, but about as deep south as you can get. You can get into Emporia, Virginia. They were farmers. So I come from, that's where they're from. I grew up in D.C., but that's my family background. So it's kind of a humility in that spirit. What I found is that if I was trying to articulate the problems faced by black people so that they understand what we're facing, I'm going to go get folks from the North, because I need people to teach and educate. If I'm trying to build something, if I want a real movement, if I want people to do something beyond talking about it, I want to see an edifice come up, and I want to see people take it their own responsibility to change the direction that the family is going in their community, I'm going to go down south. Now, there's some challenges with both, but I would say my experience has been in the South, and the deeper I go, is that you have people who have less information, but they're far more practical and capable of building things with the information they have, so that they might not have the same level of education or just ability to articulate the problems of the North, but they have more infrastructure. They have more of their own communities. They have more likelihood to have their own industries and businesses, or even their own communities. Now, they may have their own communities, and maybe they might be stuck in some of the religious backwardness of the past. But even in being stuck with some of that, they understand that no matter what you call God, I shouldn't be using vulgar language if I'm going to say that I'm a decent person. Whereas you'll have a person from the North who can break down. So you don't understand the religious story, where it came from. They give you all of this stuff, but then they cussing every other word or N-wording you to death. And it's like the person in the South has the intelligence to know, well, I don't know if your information is accurate or not. What I do know is whatever you got, you obviously it must not be working because you can't even talk in an environment with children and women in a respectful manner. Not that not any of us are perfect. Don't misunderstand. I'm not saying I don't use profanity. I'm saying I have women, a wife, and children. I know not to use that around them. I definitely know not to use it around my children. I know not to use it when I'm speaking on your radio program to all of these people because I'm trying to get them to think about things. I'm not trying to get them to learn how to curse. We know how to curse. So I'm saying my experience in the South is that I've run into people who have the capacity to actually organize and build infrastructure. I don't know if my personal opinion or my experience, I should say, I found individuals with a high courage level, but I'll also say I found a lot of extreme cowardice in the South as well. Now, I found very brave people, but I'm saying in general, there's a fear of these white folks, whereas in the North, I don't find that same fear, but I do find in the South, I find black people who, even if they don't understand the love for self, they don't have a problem being in their own community and building for themselves. They okay with that. They don't have to be around white folks to feel like they have some value in some places. Where in the North, they have more information, but not as willing to create our own environments with only black people and produce anything out of the information. So if you got a more in-depth question, you can ask me that, but that's pretty much where I am on North and South.
Okay, well, I'm going to open up these sisters' lines and get their opinion on it, too. And I'm hoping that this sister have been down here. I don't know if she's down here or not. Whoa. Sister, are you on?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm here.
Give me your opinion on South versus North.
Well, like I said, my work right now is with sisters, and I've been to Washington, North Carolina, South Carolina, all the way islands, everywhere. And
what about the Florida and Georgia?
Florida, Georgia, and I found that all the sisters, no matter where I went, they had the same problem. They hate the black man.
Okay.
I went to Belize. I even went on an island.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's not I know it's not 100%, but I'm just saying it's a huge problem.
Now you say hate. Do you think it's not hate? It's just that they can't get the brothers to do what they want them to do, or they're looking at the brothers like, you ain't killing nothing fast enough.
The reason I say hate is because when you try to destroy something as a man, I would put that label on it. They don't just go about their business and say, I can't stand you. No, they say right there and destroy you and then keep it moving and destroy the next and the next and the next. And then they teach their daughters to do the same. So I'm just saying, how are we gonna get free with that? What if a brother come home and say, Mom, I'm gonna help the people. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna work with Irritated Genie. Sit the hell down. You ain't going nowhere. See, what I'm saying is a woman is stronger than the man at this point. We got to figure out how to get it back right. But what I'm saying right now, sisters got more strength than a man.
All right. Well, let me ask you something.
This is what she say goes.
All right. Well, what if? How do you think she would feel or respond or react if all of a sudden brothers come out of the cracks and corners and crevices and just start shooting down the people that they knew, without a doubt, was responsible for the enslavement of their people? Not starting with the adults, starting with the children, and move straight on up past the women, the men, and the elderly. How do you think that the sister would feel if this started happening? And I ain't talking about her trying to tell you which way to go and what you ought to do. I'm talking about men that if she started to say anything, tell her to get out of the way. I'll be back in a minute. and these men go out and just start killing it. What do you think she would be like then? You know,
that's what she needs. That's what she needs in order to heal.
Okay, well, hold on a minute. Hold on. Let me open up area code 972. Same question.
Okay, same question. What do I think how black women will react if the black man stood up and started acting out or protecting, killing people?
I'm talking about killing the babies, killing the mothers, killing the grandmamas, killing the daddies, the uncles, the cousins, everybody.
For what reason? I mean, why are they killing these people? I don't understand the question.
Let me go back up to the other sister because you missed your question. Come on, sister.
You talking to me?
Yeah.
You said if they just start killing the brothers, the people that have hurt them.
How do you think, in your personal opinion, if this start happening in all 50 states, how do you think she is going to react?
That's what I'm saying. All the people that have hurt them and the brothers stand up. This is what we teach the brothers. We also teach the brothers. They have to be strong, stand up and don't let, because that's pretty much what we run into. Either their wife, their mama, their daughter. It's always a female running them. So we deprogramming that so the brother can stand up and
if this kind of thing start happening, which way do you think homosexuality would go then?
Oh, we got the power to kill it.
To the east or the west? Which way it'll go?
We got the power to kill it. We just gotta want to. Right? At this point, we don't want to.
Genie.
Yes.
You there?
Same question.
Okay, I'm going to say this. And the answer I give is going to be a little bit more in line with my sister, Kenneth's wife, our sister Nefertari. I'll be honest. At this particular moment, this is the problem. Our women have gotten so conditioned to hating black men. This is from my observation. And it's not all women, like the sister said. I'm not talking about all, but I'm saying I can make the generalization so that we can have the conversation and be honest. In general, black women have been conditioned in today's environment to have so much hatred towards black men. The initial instinct of black women, again, largely due to the fact that the first time they saw strong male aggression was sexual abuse, the initial response to black male aggression, even righteous black male aggression, from the women who already hate black men, which is a substantial portion of the population, they're going to rebel and try to help the whites. The initial. It all depends on how serious we are as men. If as black men we say those that have shot our children in the street and think it's funny, we're going to find justice for them. And these men went out and began to gather justice for them. Hey, those that have been raping and molesting our children, we're going to come find some justice for you. We start cleaning up the streets. What's going to happen is the initial, in my opinion, the initial response from black women, because they've been conditioned to defend every filthy bird in our community. They are the protectors of the homosexuals, the pedophiles, the degenerates, the whites, everything that's bad for black people. They're the ones that defend it. The minute they see that their defending of that puts them in harm's way, because they are women, and women are followers more than they are leaders, what's going to happen is they're going to realize they can't resist this wave of black male aggression. They're going to begin to appreciate it. Once they begin to develop trust that this is not going to turn around, then we can repair our situation again. And we'll have our women on board saying, look, you brothers clean it up, we'll keep it clean. You do your job and clean it up. When you leave the house, we'll keep it clean. But that initial stage, our women are going to resist because they're used to filth. They're used to being in charge. They're used to being in a position to effeminize and destroy manhood and target manhood for destruction. And they've gathered a lust and a love for it. And so you can't just take that away overnight. You know, it's going to be contentious in the beginning, but it won't take long before they start appreciating law and order in a social environment where they can be protected and safe again. But in the beginning, it's going to be a fight.
Okay, well let me ask you this: in doing your studies and research, have you ever found any successful non-violent revolution?
No.
Okay. Now, do you think that the so-called black woman would feel comfortable with the so-called black man ruling this planet again? You think she'd be comfortable with that?
If we actually did it, by the end of it, she would be exactly happy, because our history has been, whenever we rule, we make the world a beautiful place for our women. So once we got there, they would. But if you ask a black woman, your average black woman in the street, about being comfortable with it, with the hatred and the resentment they had towards black men today, I don't think black women today would be in favor of it. Because in their mind, they're looking at black men in our current condition, and they're saying, I do not want these spinning rim, dopehead, inward, misogynistic type males in charge of nothing. She's not thinking, hey, it's not going to be the worst of our black men. It's going to be a black man in the proper context and proper condition who let nothing happen to me that will be ruling. She don't see that. So they would love it once they got it, but it would take quite some work to get them to believe in us again.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask these sisters' opinion on this here. One. Back. What you think?
I was on there. Didn't I answer that question?
No.
I think I did.
No, this is brand new.
Oh, I must have been talking to myself then. I must have muted me.
You gonna go along with us and
we
rule the world.
Yeah, I'm saying that the sister, that's what she needs for the brother to stand up. And me and my husband, we teach the men too to learn how to stand up again and quit letting the woman run you, quit letting your daughter run you, quit letting your mama run you. We teach them that too, to stand up and be a strong man again. And then apologize to the sister. That's when we pass out the roses and the sister start crying, because you don't see the brothers doing positive things towards the sisters. So that when they saw the positive, they just fell apart because it's so unusual. Everything is negative with us now. And, like Genie was saying, it's going to take a minute in order for us to accept the man running things again. But the man can't wait for the woman to get right, because that's going to be a minute. He needs to go on and take his position. That's and right. she'll work with it.
Okay. Hold on a minute. Hold on. 972. Come on. Same question.
I tend to agree with both the sister and the brother on that. I think initially, if they did go out and do that and stand up, they might meet with some resistance. But once we see that this is actually taking place and that they are standing up and being strong and, again, learning more about yourself and your people and your history and knowing all that, I think eventually that we will fall in line and let the man do what he's supposed to do, which is lead and protect. That's the role of the male. So I think eventually if women can see that, okay, so they really are standing up now and they're looking out for us, I think we'll fall in line eventually. But it is going to take them doing that, actually standing up and being more of an example of a man around, and then we'll fall in line. I think most women, even the most independent women, I used to be one myself. Well, I still am because I'm on my own, but I used to be one of those independent, European, conscious women who thought that I went off and got my own degrees, I got my own education, I got my own house, got my own car, got my this, that I really, didn't have to depend on no man and things of that nature. So those are the women who's going to be the hardest to fall in line about supporting black men. But eventually, I believe even those will fall in line if they're doing the right thing.
All right. Well, Brother
but the definition, Tarhaka, the dangerous definition right now, can you hear me? Tarhaka? The dangerous definition right now is I see men that stand up all the time, young men, older men. But the problem is the sister wants the brother to, this is what they think is positive. When they get in a fight with their husband, they call their son or they call their cousin or somebody, and then the cousin gets shot. The brother gets shot, and then she stay with the man, and then they fight again, and then she call her other son. See, this is what I see now. This is what they call standing up.
All right. Well, wait a minute. Jeannie?
Yes.
Let me and you back up against the rain rope and just lean on them, because I got a question for the sister. You leaning?
I'm leaning.
All right, I'm leaning too. Now, sisters, this is the question for y'all. How often do you think the so-called black males in America, in all 50 states, should go to the gun range and practice?
Daily.
You say daily?
Yes. If your skills ain't that good, you better be honing up on them and be ready. You need to be ready out there and know how to do it, and not just men. I think all women, women, children, everybody should know how to and not have no fear of no gun. I mean, they raise their kids up in the woods. I'm from Alabama, born and raised, and guns is something that was introduced to me, and we were all girls raised by my grandparents, but guns is something that was always introduced to us. We never had no fear of them. And everybody in Alabama, I guess maybe it's a southern thing, but everybody teaches their kids how to shoot and things of that nature too. So it's never been an issue with me as far as gun power or no fear of it or pulling the trigger.
You think that brothers and sisters in all 50 states need to go every day?
Be prepared. Okay. Arm yourself.
All right. Now, sister, I'm asking the other sister now, how often do you think that we ought to do it?
Well, at this point in time, I think we got to get us some knowledge first. We're going to end up shooting each other with the guns.
We don't need to go and learn how to do it. We need to get the knowledge, and we don't need to do no practicing. No practicing, just get the knowledge and no shooting.
No. What I'm saying is, okay, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Okay. You say that to a brother, he'll just go get a gun anywhere and just start waving it around. You know, oh, look what I got. You know, we're just like children. We're like children at large. What you say?
We're talking about going to the gun range and practicing and getting skills.
That's what I'm saying. That'd be fine every day. I'm just saying, as long as we have some self-control and and ain't going to prison for 5 years because we got caught with the gun. And, there's just a way to do things is all I'm saying. If we do it correctly, yes, every day. It'd be great. The women, the men, and the children.
All right. Well, I'm going to get off the ring rope. Jeannie, you get off the ring rope, and we're going to walk back out in the center of the ring and ask some more questions.
Yes.
Now, how about this? What about nutrition? Everybody.
It's something that's desperately needed in our families, in our communities, as far as nutrition, because a lot of us, we eat the same things we were raised up on, cook the same way we was taught how to cook for generations, and a lot of things that we eat and cook aren't that great for us and things of that nature. So nutrition is definitely one of the key. We got to take care of ourselves so that we can get out there and man the battle.
I think I agree, and I think that this is one of the places where I can say, particularly coming from my perspective, I'm not going to cook almost nothing. And if you leave nutrition up to me, our children are going to be unhealthy, and so am I. I'm going to say this is a place where I really think that black women have always traditionally been, and could even, particularly in today's environment, could be do tremendous good for our community. I think that women should take responsibility to say, we are going to be the cooks in our community and in our homes. We're going to I didn't say going to feed, because you can feed anything. We're going to cook. We're going to get healthy food for our young people, and we're going to feed our community healthy foods. I say that because our women have the most control, like the sister was saying, over our young people and even their men. And I know that with my wife, I don't cook nothing. I used to cook before I met her, and I cook garbage. Now that I'm with my wife, I'm much healthier, and I enjoy eating more, so I'm getting fat. But anyway, but it makes a healthier family life because I appreciate her doing that so much. It makes it easier for me to do stuff I normally wouldn't necessarily want to do. But most importantly, my children have been growing up from the time they were born. They like eating healthy. They like eating healthy because they have a mother that every night enjoys cooking and doesn't make an issue out of it. And it makes me healthier, them healthy, and everything. And I think if our women thought like that and took that back, I think it would be easier for some of them to keep these, because every man is not bad. I think a lot of our women could keep some of these brothers that they have that are good men if they learn to cook. I think it would just do wonders for our community.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. And it's more like a generational thing. That's right, sister. Well, it's a generational thing.
Not that alone cooking healthy. We ain't cooking, period.
You're right about that.
Hold on, let me ask you something. Sister, 11111. This is my question to you. I need you to take your time in 5 minutes to tell us about your granddaddy. What kind of man was he?
You talking to me?
My yeah, I think you're talking to me. 111. Tell you about my granddaddy?
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you about my daddy.
I ain't asked you that.
I can't tell you about my granddaddy because I didn't know him.
Okay, hold on a minute. Sharon?
Oh, yeah.
Could you tell us about your
mine.
granddaddy? Oh, well, tell me about it.
Well, my granddaddy was a Southern guy. We called him, his name was James Clarence. We called him Charlie Wise. Everybody called him Charlie Wise. He was about 5'4", but he packed a mean one, boy. You didn't want to step up into that 5'4". You had something to deal with. But he was raised, me and my sisters was raised by him and my grandmother, and he was always the leader of the family. There was never no doubt who was the head of the household. In that household, it was him. He went off. He had his own business. He always went off to work. My grandmama stayed at home most of the time, although she did have her own business too at one point in time. But the running of the house was left up to my grandmother. My granddad went out. He earned a living, and he came back, and he gave Mama whatever money she needed to maintain the house. He never questioned her. I didn't never hear them arguing about what you spent this on, what you spent that on, because he knew that that he trusted her to do what was the right thing about maintaining the household with the money. So they never had, it was a clear defined of roles in my household. My granddaddy was the protector and the provider, and my grandmother was the nurturing one. So it was very clear and defined roles. And when my granddaddy came home from work, we had our roles as the kids. We would go to get his slippers, go get this, pull his chair up to the table, go get his plate, put that in front of him, pick it up. I mean, he ruled that household, but she treated him with respect. And she kind of taught me and my sisters on how you're supposed to treat a man and things of that nature. And I think that helped us a lot when we went out and started looking for men. We had something to measure it by my granddad. And that's a lot of things that's missing in young households today that's being raised by just single parents, single women, and things of that nature, even if it's a girl or a guy. If it's a girl that you're bringing up in a single family home, and she don't know what to expect, so when she get out there looking for a man, she don't have nothing to measure it by because she never had a dad in her house to show how that daddy treated their mom and know which was the right way on how to be treated. So I think that has a lot to do with the effect of how our young women perceive men, black men in their lives.
Now you said he was a protector, and you say he don't want to be.
Yeah.
Based on what I could be wrong, but based on the time period, he should have been living during the time. And you say you came from Alabama, where the Ku Klux Klan was down there. Certainly, might have tried to bum rush him.
No,
right?
No. For some reason, I don't know what it was. He had a lot of respect, even from the white people. I never can recall a time in my mind where the police came to our house, even if he was like running off some boy or something by shooting in the air. No police ever came to our house to try to get my daddy or press any charges against him. I don't know why. We were living in Alabama in the 60s and things of that nature. I was born in the 60s, so I was young during that time, but I still don't recall the po coming after my granddaddy. He probably would have shot at them too. He just didn't play. He didn't care. He'll shoot at anybody.
Now, what his name was again?
Charlie Wise.
You say he had his own business. What kind of business did he have?
He had a nightclub that he ran, and at one point in time, my grandmama was running like this kitchen too down by the docks where all the longshoremen and stuff like that. She had a kitchen that she ran for a lot of years, and he always have run nightclubs.
Did he have a gun?
Always strapped and ready. He carried a 38 on his hip like he was Gunsmoke.
So nobody messed with Charlie White. What kind of car he drive?
Cadillac, baby.
Okay, tell me about it. He drove a Cadillac, and he would run the nightclub, and that means he had to come home. How was the drive from club to the house? What? Explain that to us.
Oh, it was, I don't know, it might have been just their thing, but no matter what time my granddaddy came home at night, we were in there with me and my sisters, and he would just blow the horn when he get like to the corner. Once he blow the horn, even if we in there asleep now, we can hear that horn blowing. We get up out the bed, go out there and open the gate for him so that he can pull his car in the driveway, and then we can go back in the house and go back to sleep. But no matter what time of night it was or day, that was our job. We had to get up and go out there and open the gate and shut the gate back when he got in.
All right. Now, what was your grandmama's name again?
Jenny.
Okay.
We called her Jenny.
What kind of gun Jenny had?
Jenny carried two. She carried a 9. Okay.
Did Charlie mess with Jenny?
Not at all. Now, he ruled the household who he was, but he still didn't go up against Jenny.
Oh, yes. Ladies and gentlemen. Hold on a minute. We've been opening up another line. 720, you're on the air. 720.
That's you, baby.
Yo.
What's up?
720, come on in.
I'm enjoying the sisters. Hotep, Irritated Genie, appreciate you and all your work, brother. You still doing it strong. We appreciate you. And Hotep, Tarhaka, I'm going to keep listening in. I ain't got much to say. I'm enjoying this.
Okay.
That's my husband.
On in, man. That's your husband? Yeah. You better have something to say. Come on in here.
I'm still tripping off of what he did, Charlie Wise?
Yep, Charlie Wise.
Yeah, I love them people. I love stories and our people who was like that because I had grandparents I remember. And I don't remember them carrying a gun, but that don't mean they didn't. But I remember my great-granddaddy was a wealthy farmer. And my granddaddy was also a farmer. And they raised 10 children, my grandparents, in southern Illinois, northern Tennessee area. And I do remember a lot of the values the sister's talking about. And I'm enamored. I want to keep on hearing more. You know, my wife has a grandmother, a great grandmother similar to that, in that her name was Overstreet, Addie Mae Overstreet, and she lived to be 122 years old. She had 22 children. Her last baby at 59, and she was friends with Geronimo, the so-called Indian, and she was Choctaw. And she was crispy black with nappy hair.
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful stories. I love the sister and what she contributed. And I have my own family, and Nefertari's got a few. But she didn't know her granddad, and that's unfortunate. I did know my father's dad.
All right. Well, let me ask Brother Genie. Genie, tell me about your granddaddy, man.
Well, there was two men. My real grandfather passed when my mother was 12, so I never met him. But he was like the person in our family that everybody gathered around. He was the central figure in the family, and he was. My mother said he was a Scorpio. He was. Everybody loved him. He was the nicest guy you ever met. But she told me a story that when his name was Russell Easter, and he was going down the street, and some guy said something about his mama, and he said, "Don't say nothing else about my mother." And the guy said something. He took a bottle and cracked him upside the head. So he was the kind of guy, easy to get along with. Everybody loved him, but don't say nothing about his mama. And but I never met him. He passed. He had given my mother to his sister because he couldn't raise. He didn't have a wife, but he was always there for my mother while he was alive. But he just knew that she would get a better raising from his sister. And she was happy to do it. So that's what I call my grandmother, really my great aunt. And she was married to a guy named Roy Hill. That was my grandfather that I knew. And he was a guy, he may have had a 5th grade education. Again, he grew up in Emporia, Virginia, going to church every day kind of guy. He wanted to raise me. He really wanted to raise me. But he passed away when I was about 4 or 5 years old. But we were really close. He sat down at the TV and watched Gunsmoke and all the different westerns. That's what he did every day, all day. He worked hard. He didn't have a lot of education, and my grandmother was a little bit better with money than him. So he would, however much money he got, he'd just give it to his wife, my grandma, and she did all the paying the bills and all this kind of stuff. But he was real frugal. So she, he was the man, so she respected him being in charge. But when she wanted something, she just leaned on him long enough. He finally break, and he'll get something. But he came from a very poor background, so he didn't spend no bunch of money. And my grandmother's uncle was like way before my time. She was born in like 1912 or somewhere around 1919, 1912, somewhere in there. But I think 1912. But my grandmother's uncle was lynched in Emporia, Virginia. He was walking down the street, and these 2 white guys had raped this white female. And again, he was a very uneducated brother. They made him confess to something he didn't do because you know how it was back then. You can't tell whites no. Yeah. He didn't know what he was confessing. He didn't know what they were talking about. Long story short, they lynched him. So Roy Hill grew up in that environment. He knew my grandmother for many years, where he's seen people get lynched, like even the person in my family, where it was a very repressive, southern, rural, racist, backwoods. They'll lynch you, they kill you. You got to get your bread through the hole in the back of a house. Very demeaning kind of way. So he was a very humble guy when it came to whites. He didn't really want any conflict with them, but he was a very nice guy. He wasn't a real tough guy, but he did have a rifle in the back of his house. You could not come in the house and do nothing to my grandma. That's one place where any type of conflict would be ended. You can't say nothing negative about Bernice Hill, but other than that, just a real nice kind of country guy.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell my story right quick. My granddaddy, Willie Lightning, she stole my grandmama when she was 11 years old. And the way they did it, because my great grandfather, he had 10 sons and 9 daughters. And then nobody didn't go to the store because they had their own horses, they had everything else. The Ku Klux Klan, they were around back then nowadays, but they had got orders from the mayor not to go near the Moors because the family name was Moore. That whatever you do it round by the Moors. And because they come along, sometimes they riding through the woods on the horses, and them boys would go out and stand in the middle of the yard in a line, and what they would do was they flip their jacket around toward their back so that everybody could see the shooting knife, and they kept on riding. But I remember one day, because see what they would do is go into town, and the boys was in charge to take the girls with them into town to the little juke joint back up in the woods. But in order to get there, you had to cross the creek, and there was a log across the creek, and there's only a certain kind of way you step on the log. If you step on the log wrong, the log flip and you fall in the water with the alligators and stuff. But what my granddaddy would do, he fell in love with my grandmama. She was the baby, and these girls here, they brought brand new meaning to the word fine. The stuff y'all talking about fine today, no, that didn't exist. It existed then. And so everybody was trying to chase the girl. So the boys, they go home, and the girls, they come back, and them girls hit that log with their feet, and they know how to get across the log, and they would never fall in. But the boys tried to chase them, didn't know it. They flat-footed. They fell in the water. But my granddaddy, what he did was he would watch them. And when everybody got through falling, he would make the same step across the log and get across there. And when he get over to the house, he'd throw a little pebble up against her window, and the rest of the girls over there, they were saying, Willie out there. And she peeped out the window, and what happened was they came out with the Model T Ford, and he worked for a pulpwood company, and his boss man said, because he was the head man over there, he said, go ahead and take it for a spin, because I know if I get you to go for a spin, everybody will believe in you, and I can leave you in charge of stuff like that. But my granddad, when he went for the spin, he went and got Mildred. He didn't go back. And he went through the woods, hopped that log, went over there, threw them peppers against that window, and told her to come on out here, I want to show you something. And she came out and she said, that's your car? You got a car? A real horseless carriage? And he said, yeah, come on, I'll take you for a ride. And he took off with her. And she was missing. And my great-great-granddaddy assembled the boys, the girls, and his entire entourage on the land, because he had almost 100 men to work the land. And everybody came forward. He said, this man done took my baby. He said, I'm going to go out, and they got all the horses out, and everybody mounted up. And then, but when he got to the gate, he stopped them and said, no, y'all get off the horses. I'm going to get him by myself. And he chased them 3 states. And both of these men were master hunters, master trappers, master fishermen, and cold-blooded killers. And he caught them. And he had got to Jacksonville, and by the time he caught them, she was pregnant with my mama. They held on each other. He was trying to separate them with one hand and hold a double-barrel shotgun in the other hand, and he couldn't separate it. They fell on the ground and holding one another, and until from dark until it got up in the daylight, and he couldn't separate them. It was on the ground holding one another. She was pregnant. They were holding on to one another, so he couldn't separate them. Couldn't shoot my granddad. So he got up and got on his horse and went back into the woods. But then, after I was born, they come and told him and her that my granddaddy was my great granddaddy was on his deathbed, and he said he calling for you. And he said, well, okay, I'm going. And he came on down there, And when he went up in there, everybody was standing in the hallway on both sides of the hall. And when he walked in the room, first thing my great-granddaddy told him, he said, "You stole my baby." He said, "I know." He said, "I'm sorry about it." He said, "You know, if I'd have caught you, I'd kill you." He said, I know. He said, "You, out of all of the men that came for my daughter," he said, "you the best one. But you know, if I'd have caught you, I'd have killed you." He said, I know. I know you would have. And he said, "You've been taken care of." I said, Yeah, I've been taken care of. He said, I'm gonna take care of. He said, "But you know, if I'd have caught you, I'd have killed you." He said, I know you would. Okay. So he walked on back out, and he went on back, and he took care of, and they were raised, and then I come along, and I was almost 35 years old before my mama even told me what happened. I just happened to be sitting in the living room with her. I said, "Mama, you ain't never told me about granddaddy and great-great-granddaddy." And she said, "Well, you ain't never asked me." I said, "Well, tell me the story." And then she started telling me the story. And I remember one day I was looking at the news, and they had dredged the St. Johns River, and they pull up a brand new Model T Ford. They said, "We don't know where it come from. It's brand new. The plates are on the stuff that we don't know where it come from." I said, "Okay, that's how you got her here. That's you put it. You after you got here, you pushed it into the river to keep great-great-granddaddy from finding you, and it still wasn't enough because he still found you because he was a master." But that's my story, and so I appreciate y'all.
Man,
listening.
That's great.
Well, that's the truth. That's the truth of what happened between my granddaddy and my great-great-granddaddy. And you know something? I'm going to tell you something. When you are taught by the real people, you become a real magnet, and you effect change on the planet. And the reason I'm saying that because I remember now my grandmama and my granddaddy eventually separated, and my grandmama called herself having a man that was what you call sweet on her. Her house was down the street, and he worked down to the funeral home. But she had this little man, his name was Walter. He was sweet on her. And Walter would come to the house in his car. He was very, very respectable. He was about 5 foot tall. And my grandmama, she was an Amazon, what you would call a brick, you-know-what house. Anyhow, Walter liked it, Mildred, after granddaddy and her separated, because my granddaddy taught her how to hunt, fish, cook, trap, and beat the brakes off a man. He taught her that, and he taught her how to shoot. She could outshoot any mercenary. But anyway, this particular day, Walter didn't show up on time. And Fred at the funeral home saw Mildred coming by with 2 bags of groceries in her hand, and he asked her if he could take the grocery and carry them for her. And she agreed and gave him the grocery, and he walked down to the house and set the grocery on the steps. And she picked him up and took him in the house. And he was standing up there saying goodbye. And she went into the house. But at the same time, Walter pulled up. And Walter was a very, very small man. And the big man, Fred, he turned around, walked out the gate, and he went on down the road. Well, Walter came in the house and demanded an explanation for what had took place. And Mildred was trying to explain to him that he was just friendly. He offered to help me walk the groceries down to the house, and that was the end of that. But Walter was upset about it. And he grabbed my grandmama by the arm. Now, back in those days, we're talking about 1958, she was cooking eggs in a frying pan. Frying pans made in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s weighed 5, 6, or 7 pounds. I got one of them here right now. You have to take my word for it. You can put it in your own hand and you tell me. But she swung around and hit Walter upside the head with it. Walter stumbled and ricocheted off the wall, and she sit on Walter. When she sit on him, she took all the air out of Walter. My uncle Rufus running there trying to get her off of Walter. He said, you're going to kill him. You got to get off of him, Mildred. She said, I'm not doing this thing. She said, yeah, but you sitting on him. He can't breathe. So she pulled her off of Walter. And Walter crawled to the door and got outside the door and stumbled down the steps and made it to his little car, got in the car, and went in the wrong direction because they were doing construction down in the direction that he was headed. And my Uncle Rufus was screaming and hollering and said, Walter, you're going the wrong way. You're going to crash. And he rolled off the embankment. They had to go down there and get Walter out the car and bring him back up and walk Walter past the funeral home and put him on the bus and send him somewhere because she had messed Walter up by sitting on Walter. But anyway, these are just some of the stories that happened in real life that I remember because I was 3 years old. But I remember when she sit on Walter because when she flopped on him, he said, oh. All the air went out of Walter on that day. And I knew somebody was in trouble. But lucky my Uncle Rufus was there to pull her off of Walter. And so he didn't die until later on. But I think if Walter would have been there for a few more minutes, I think Walter would have died right there in the hallway. But anyway, Brother Genie, are you with me, brother?
Yes, sir. I'm still with you.
Okay. These stories can get kind of going on here. But now let me ask you something. Now, based on what we've talked about this evening, what do you think is the solution to move from point A to point B as far as people of African descent inside the United States?
I would say that's a long question. I would answer a little bit more precise. If there was a first step, I'll say what would be the first step for black people who are really serious about doing something about our condition? I would say,
okay.
In particular in the context of the conversation we had tonight, I'm going to answer in the context of what we've been talking about tonight with the black man and woman repairing this relationship. I think two things should happen simultaneously. Black women should collectively come together and say, we demand and we fully expect you to fix the problem of sexual abuse of children in our community. We want you, black man, to be a man and bring an end to it. And simultaneously, black men should organize to protect our children from sexual abuse. In doing that, what we do is we begin the process of giving black women faith in black manhood again. Because our women have not seen us take serious steps on something that means something and that directly impacts them of this magnitude in a long time, probably since since we got out of enslavement and the brother said, no more raping my daughters, let's protect our family. Since that time, our women probably haven't seen this type of organized effort of black men to do something that means something. if we did those things simultaneously, I think it would go further to repairing the relationship between black men and women than anything else we can do. We can talk about financial and money, and let me tell you something. A person would rather be poor and sexually sane and never been abused or mistreated than to have all the money in the world and have somebody destroy their soul, constantly violating them. I think that would be more critical to repairing our situation and protecting us from this onslaught of this sexual insanity Europeans are bringing on our people than anything else we can do.
Okay. I'm going to ask the next sister what her opinion is on the same thing. One. Come on. That's how it's coming up over here. Come on, let me have it.
Yeah. I think that, my thing, the black woman, I think we need to stand up to her and tell the truth of what the problem really is. The molestation is because the black woman is not paying attention to her children and she's leaving them with everybody. And, and we just need to figure out how to fix that. Thing else will bloom.
Well, you know what? I learned something a long time ago. Nobody on earth can out-argue the black woman. So how you think?
That's why ain't nobody doing the work, because nobody want to argue with her, because she good at it. So everybody taking the easy way out. So nobody want to deal with her. Like, I ain't doing that. I know what you're saying, but I ain't doing that. See, I stand up to her. I mean, it's the hardest work in the world, but I'm standing up to her.
Well, she recognized you because, see, you know what? And now this is what I found out. Now, this is amazing. Don't y'all go out there and be doing none of this. But I believe that I can tell her that she's fat, but another woman did not say that, because it's going to be some...
Yeah. Any little thing. She's very sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be careful.
Well, I'm going out here to 972.
And I just...
972, come on. Same question.
Okay. Well, as I said before, I think the whole solution is going to have to be education and knowledge. You say knowledge is power, and I think the more that we are able to reach the younger people, it's going to mostly start with our younger generation, and we've got to get them first to see some real change to going on and things of that nature. It's going to have to start with education and making people more aware of what a beautiful and rich history you have, and I think once people know where you come from, you'll know more about how to respect that other man and other female. If we learn to treat each other with more respect and love, then that'll go a long way towards getting rid of some of these ill feelings that we have towards one another and things of that nature. So that's my solution, education.
All right. Well, I'm going out here to 720 now. 720. Come on now.
Hotep. I would say that we need to use our own. I agree with everybody, and I would say we need to use our own analysis and our own tools to train and analyze our behavior and our code of ethics. One example is when me and my wife did a show on the black woman is the problem and the Christian sensibility is the radiation. We talked about the black woman in one of her roles, so she's got many, can actually be considered Godzilla if you want to really equate it to a visual image that would fit our sensibility and everybody be aware of. She can spit fire like Sekhmet and cut you with them words and destroy you if you let her. And so that's just one aspect of her. That's not who she is. We're not knocking women for having that power. But when she's out of control, you're dealing with Godzilla. And you need you have the dragon, you need analogies, and you need stories, and you need tools to help train people on how to be in a relationship with a sister. And one of them is, like Nefertari just said, is you have to teach the art of dragon slaying, and not killing the dragon, but subduing the dragon's rage by understanding the woman's cycle and helping her get through it without being cruel to her. See, if she trusts you through her cycle when she's losing her mind, but every woman knows, she goes through that time regularly, but she just lose her goddamn mind. Excuse my language.
Wait a minute.
Can't trust the man. Can't trust the man. Huh?
Now you done said that. Genie, you with me? Genie.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Do you think that, based on what the brother had just said, do you think that we need to teach her how to shoot?
Do we need to teach what?
Teach her how to shoot.
I think long as we use white targets, we'll be all right.
and never forget, in the art of dragon slaying, no one can actually reach the dragon except a black man, be it her son, her brother, her lover, her father.
Okay, so
that's the only one who has the capacity to calm that dragon down.
Okay, so she won't. If we do it right, she won't shoot us.
Exactly. We got to get behind that rock when she's spitting that fire.
Okay.
And then we got to throw out like a pretty flower or a shiny rock or a diamond or some, throw something out and be like, look at that. She'll, in her rage, she'll be like, oh, look at that. That is cute. Allowing her to focus a little so she can pull it back together.
Well, I know what I'm going to do. I got one solution for this. I'm going to teach her how to become a master with the barbecue grill, but we will not be going out dealing with no AKs.
There you go, Tarhaka. There you go.
That's how we gonna do that.
That's why I said we need knowledge before we get some guns, because we be killing each other.
But y'all remember the movie John Q? Y'all remember the movie John Q?
I done already seen what you did with a frying pan. So I want
But y'all remember the movie John Q? On that, the critical thing in that movie was when Kimberly Elise said to Denzel Washington, "Do something, John." See, the sister has the power in her mouth from the time of Sekhmet, from our ancient ancestors. She has the power in her mouth to make anybody with a gun shoot themselves or shoot anybody.
Lord have mercy.
So we got to be real mindful of this dragon analogy. And it helps. It do help.
Me and my husband, we dealt with a lot of sisters. And, when it comes to opinion, we don't have opinions. We have facts.
Oh, no. That's dangerous.
So I have a lot of respect. And see, like the serpent on the headdress of the Egyptians, it was a symbol of respect because you can't deal with a poisonous snake without respecting its power.
That's
and
right.
So it's the same with the sister. We're the only ones who can properly respect her to the point where she'll calm down and pull herself in order.
Okay. Well, let me ask my other question now. Genie, you're my special guest, man. I need to know from you, what is you, because this is February, in your opinion, what is your personal opinion about Martin Luther King and what he's done?
Okay. Me, I don't come in on this particular question with a answer that's similar to what most people do. In my opinion, my philosophy is this. I judge those yesterday by how I would judge them if they were out here on the battlefield with me today. So look at the last few years of his life when he started making some, or even the early part of his life, the Montgomery bus boycott, where he really did a great job in leading that mission, or the latter part of his life when he came out and really started taking a more proactive, black, solid position. The core of his career was spent fighting people like me and leading our people to death. Really, he was the predecessor for every sick, filthy thing that we involved in today in terms of a major part of the problem of the black community is that we are acting like Europeans. We're sexing like them. We treat our adults like them. We treat our grandparents like them. We have our communities like them. We steal like them. We lie like them. We cheat like them. We are so much a reflection of them that sometimes it's hard to look at a black person and see the blackness. Well, he was the one that told us that we're supposed to be holding hands with white folks and holding hands with little white girls. In my opinion, he did a devastating job of destroying and fighting against those who were truly committed to self-sufficiency of black people and upward mobility of our people at the time. He spent most of his life doing that. And I don't bring his name up because there's nothing I have to say that's positive. Because if he was, I don't like taking villains and making them heroes. And if there's a person out here today on this battlefield saying the same thing Martin Luther King was saying, we need to hold hands with white folks. We can't get nothing done unless we work with the white folks. We got to love our white enemies. If you say that on this battlefield today, you're an enemy of mine today because you're teaching our people to go in a dangerous direction. I don't see no reason to give him no passes, considering the fact he had Marcus Mosiah Garvey, he had access to Elijah Muhammad, he had access to Malcolm X, to Robert F. Williams, all people that he allowed himself to fight against and speak against during his tenure. I don't like anything that he did for the most part in the bulk of his life. I think he's a bad representative of a black man from the perspective of what we need to give our children today. He was running around with a homosexual Baird Rustin, and in the context of the world we live in today, we need masculine men who will stand up and be men, and you should not be comfortable running around with a homosexual, and God knows in 1955 you shouldn't have been done it. If you could do it today, maybe you can get a pass because you don't know no better, but everybody knew better in 1955, so it's inexcusable as far as I'm concerned. I don't like what he stood for. I don't like the misdirection he led our people in. And I think we would be wise to erase that nightmare of a dream that he had from history and start teaching our people about the real brothers and sisters like Rosa Parks, whose grandfather was a Garveyite, and who said she would not go to sleep at night because he was a Garveyite. The Klan was talking about coming and killing her grandfather and the family. And she said he used to read her stories and read the Garvey World, and she would not go to sleep at night because she said she wanted to make sure that she saw that first Klansman that came through that door that her grandfather blew his brains out. She did not want to miss it because she said if he comes through, my granddaddy will shoot him. And her grandfather told her, I don't know how many of them I can do, but the first one that comes through the door, that one's mine. So that's the kind of woman that she was. And I just want to tell this other part just real quickly in answering the question. Rosa Parks, see, people get this whole thing wrong. The civil rights movement, the Uncle Toms, and the freedom fighters are two different groups of people. Rosa Parks was so strong. First of all, the men used to come and clean their guns at her house. She wouldn't be around no man that didn't have no guns. The way she got into the movement, she was working with a brother named Nixon. He was the brother that used to walk around with a 45 on his hip at all times. And the reason we don't know his name because he would cut up a storm, so he wasn't really a front man, but he was a community organizer. And a sister was walking home from the grocery store one day, and 5 white boys pulled her over, and each one of them raped her. And she just begged to get home to her children and the husband. And when Nixon heard of the story, he said, I need somebody to go down there and investigate this case, but I need my strongest freedom fighter because we're going into some real Klan territory. And who stood up and who did he trust to do it? It was Rosa Parks. So those are real freedom fighters who get played off as just people that wanted to sit on a bus with some white folks. That was not what it was about. She was a warrior. Dr. Martin Luther King, on the other hand, I'm not going to go into the specifics. He did not meet the same criteria of these strong freedom fighters when we look at the background of why they were doing the things they were doing and what they did. And I think we need to get the record straight. So for my vote and in the final analysis, Martin Luther King is no hero of mine.
Okay, I think we got enough time to deal with a couple of more. Vernon James before Martin Luther King. Are you familiar with him?
You say Vernon James?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not familiar with Vernon James.
Okay, tell me what you know about Malcolm.
Brother Malcolm, I love the early Brother Malcolm X. I have tremendous respect for the Pan-African Brother Malcolm X. The one thing, and a lot of people, I take heat on this a lot of times, but the one thing I did have as a criticism about Brother Malcolm, the main thing, for me, I believe in consistency and, most importantly, loyalty to truth and the acknowledgement of the whites being our mortal and bitter and everlasting enemy. I was very disconcerted and disappointed with his decision to come back from Mecca and tell us about some good white turban-wearing Arabs that he met. As far as I'm concerned, when you told us that the whites were devils, you were correct. You didn't make no mistake, and there's no need to try to reverse that decision. It was accurate. It's a proper assessment. It's the one that we need. And because you're the one that gave it to us, it's more dangerous for you to take it back than somebody else, because many of the people that got on because of you and love you will now start going the wrong direction because of you. So that was a particular thing that I thought was a huge and inappropriate thing to do. But as it relates to his overall life, I think he was a tremendous contributor to our people. And I'm happy to know that he fought as hard as he did for our race. And I do believe he's a hero for our people, minus that terrible decision to confuse our people with the wickedness of our mortal enemy, the white race.
Okay. Well, let me ask you something, because one thing that I noticed is with Caucasian Europeans, and doesn't have anything to do with racism, but they reward their killers and make monuments and statues and stuff. Matter of fact, right here in Jacksonville, Florida, down to beyond the bookstore and to the landing, there's a statue of Andrew Jackson on a horse, and we have all these plaques and statues of people who have murdered and killed our people. So do you think that we should erect monuments and statues of like Malcolm, what's his name? Claude Anderson. Let's see. I'll think of him. Geronimo. Do you think we should do that? You think it would be appropriate?
When we do our program every Monday night, in order for a person to speak, we say, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, and long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. I'm going to say that again. We say, praise Nat Turner. We say, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, and long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Because, again, it's our estimation, if we want our children to take the mantle of self-respect and black empowerment, and we're serious about it, then the people we should most teach them about are the people that we want them to embody. And so the slayers of our enemies, or the builders of great movements to lift our people out of this misery, the ones who weren't afraid, the ones that were consistent, and the ones that were the most fierce, in my opinion, coming from the battlefield and the perspective that I come from, those are the ones we should feed our children. So I absolutely, not only should we give monuments to them, not only should we name the streets in our own communities after them, not only should we name our local community centers after them, but we should say their names, hang their pictures up, and name things after them so frequently that we're constantly saying their names and rejuvenating those names so we can bring those spirits back. That's why when you ask me about Martin Luther King, instead of going deep into him, I start talking about Rosa Parks, because I can talk about her proudly and say her name, and the people that can look at it and hear this and start researching more about her and go, wow, I didn't know how tough this sister was, and you gain a whole different level of respect for her. Now you start saying Rosa Parks' name with pride more and more because she was one of the real true freedom fighters. I say we should say their names, build statues, and everything we do should be surrounded around the ancestors that fought the hardest for our liberation.
Okay, now, so you're saying that not only should we acknowledge them, that we should erect some monuments in their honor?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that I put that, because this doesn't, because I feel this way. If we have a race of people on the planet who say Hi Hitler and had this and Genghis Khan and all these things and have these societies that recognize them, what's our problem? What is it about us? Like we have this kind of fear of like what Marcus Garvey did, Malcolm X did, and so on and so forth. What's the problem? Why is it that we have a problem? What do you think is the problem with us where we cannot acknowledge our leaders?
It goes back to something I was talking about earlier when I said that none of the hyenas pity the lion who complains about his condition. The problem is that we are not looking at the world from the reality of the fact that we are in a war and that we have enemies. Hence, we send our lion cubs to be taught by the hyenas. Or better yet, even when we teach them, we allow the hyenas to give us the perspective and the curriculum through which, and the lens through which we teach our lion cubs how to view the world. We're setting them up for disaster and destruction. We are not actually looking at this from the perspective of an independent-minded group of people who recognize that they have enemies, who recognize that we have our own agenda, and who recognize we want power and dominion over our own condition and potentially the planet. So with that consequence being, since we're not looking at this as a war that we want to win, and we haven't identified the enemies as those that we're trying to win against, if you don't do those things first, intellectually, like the sisters were saying before, if you don't get that knowledge and understanding that that's your goal and objective to win this war, then you don't know that these are the folks you're fighting, then you don't know that your heroes are the ones that fought them the most. So when we allow our enemies to tell us to love our enemies, then the folks that tell us to love our enemies become our heroes, when in fact they're villains. And those that fought our enemies become villains or lost in time because we don't have the proper personality and mentality to love those that do the most for us. So what we have to do is we have to start being honest in our churches, in our schools, in our homes. My children know that the white race are the enemy. You can talk to my 4-year-old daughter right now, and my 3-year-old son will tell you, who's your enemy? The white devils. Why are your enemies? Because they want to shoot us. What you going to do? Fight them. He's 3 years old, but he don't know nothing else. He knows that. Why? Because if I'm serious about saving my race, if I'm serious that we're in a war, then I'm highly negligent to know that and wait to teach that to my children. This is a war that I'm going to die. I've lived at least half of my life probably. So I'm going to die long before them, hopefully. But they got to come behind me and grow and develop, and they have a tremendous war for their survival to fight and wage. If I wait even a moment before I arm them with what they need to fight this, then I'm just as much a villain as my enemy that's trying to destroy us, in my opinion. So I think that that's what it is. We got to start educating our people with the beginning and foundational understanding. We're in a war for our racial survival. We want to win. We have enemies. We don't want them to win. We want them to lose. Then it becomes, what do we have to do to make them lose and for us to win? Then we will start putting out the heroes that showed us how to win.
Let me ask you something. What do you know about and what do you think about Geronimo?
Geronimo Pratt or Geronimo the Native American?
The one they call the Native American.
I like him. He fought these Europeans to the end. I like him like I like Pontiac. I like a lot of the Native American leaders, particularly the ones who fought to the end. They made some mistakes, and as bad as the mistakes they made were, those mistakes teach us some very valuable lessons about trusting Europeans. But many of them were very brave. Once they saw what they were facing, they weren't afraid to fight. And I have tremendous respect for some of the fights that they fought.
What do you think about Castro?
Castro is one of the few non-Africans in the world today that I actually like. I like Fidel Castro. I like the fight that he fought against the Europeans. I like the fact that he put the small hats out of Cuba. He had a large black army, and I know that Cuba's not perfect, but the black people in Cuba, I think they probably get a fairer shake than we do here in America. I just, as a generic leader, I think he's been a phenomenal leader, showing a David and Goliath kind of personality. And I think his war and his sophistication in maintaining the independence of his nation is something that black people should study and understand. I think we can learn some things from it.
Okay. What about King Solomon in the Bible versus Khan Musa?
I don't really do a lot with the Bible characters. I deal more with actual other historical figures that I'm familiar with.
All right. Are you familiar with Candace's?
Candace, yes, absolutely. Warrior queen. Love them to death.
Okay. What could we learn from them?
Well, what we can learn from the Kandakes is that as men, when we get ourselves together, the advantage that we have over the Europeans is that our women fight good enough that the best of them are better warriors than the white males. So if we finally decide to be men again, we're going to be in good hands. We're going to win because even if you look at it man for man, even though we can beat the Euro man for man, we don't have to look at it like that. We can have a black man and a black woman on the battlefield that are ready for battle can take out 5 or 6 Europeans any day of the week. So if we get ourselves together, we know that when we go out on that battlefield, we don't want to take our women out there. But if they get past our front lines and get to our homes, we got women that's capable of going out on the battlefield and beating up on them anyway. So I don't see any reason we should be scared, man. We got the best of all worlds.
I hear you.
All right. Like that's talking earlier. I wanted to say I love you, sister. I held back from saying it, but I mean, she was talking about her grandfather had a weapon, and she believes we should shoot every day. I was like, and even my sister Nefertari, the way these sisters are talking, it does not make me feel like black women hate me. It makes me feel like I'm responsible to go out here and fight. I feel encouraged, and I wish we could have more of this kind of energy from our women. You know, I love it.
I hear you. I need to get you to recommend some books for us, man. We're going down to the last 9 minutes. What's your recommendation on books that we need to have in our libraries?
Okay. A book that I think is very practical. It was about the Klan, and it was about a man who really started the Black Power movement. His name was Robert F. Williams. He was actually the man. The reason they created Martin Luther King and financed him was to destroy this man's influence on black people. He's the one that got black people in the South to arm themselves across the entire South. It's called Negroes with Guns. Negroes with Guns. That's an excellent book. Also, I think a very important book is Kibuka, Kebuka. Kibuka is by Brother Baruti. He details slave trade. It's a short book, but it really helps us come to grips with what we've been through and how powerful we are, our people, as having gone through what we went through. And it puts things back in perspective of the relationship between black people and whites. I think we also need to read War on the Horizon, Black Resistance to the White Sex Assault. That's a book I actually wrote, and it talks about the modern homosexual war against the black race, it's really sexual terrorism that we're facing. Another book I think absolutely critical for people in terms of history. If you want to really understand how we got to where we are in the world, from a millenniums. If you're looking thousands of years ago, I think my opinion, the best book on that, The Destruction of Black Civilization, critical. And
Chancellor
the
Williams.
last book, yes, Chancellor Williams, Dr. Chancellor Williams, yes, sir. It's called The Black Bible in the Black Nationalist Circuits. And then the last book I would recommend, if you can find a copy of it, excellent and outstanding book. It's called The Irritated Genie, and it was written by Jacob Carruthers. And The Irritated Genie is a book about the Haitian Revolution. It's the most remarkable revolution in the history of the world, the only time that a group of people were kidnapped, taken to a foreign place, overthrew their kidnappers, and became an independent nation. It's the first and only documented case of that happened in the history of the world. And when you read some of the real people, these are not superheroes from the TV and the cartoon. When you read some of the real black people who stood up against the strongest armies the Europeans had at the time and defeated Napoleon and the French, and you see how they did it, and you read this book about their personalities and their beliefs and their recognition of the fact that whites were their enemies and that it was not a war about peace or love or slavery, but it was a race-based war, white against black. And once they turned it into a pure racial war, they won because they had clarity. I think that it's, in my opinion, one of the most important books that we can read. So those are just 5 books I think are really good books.
Okay, this is my last question. I hope you don't think I'll be drilling you, but brother, how important is it, and how precious is it, and how should we deal with our sisters as men? How precious are they?
I think that as black men, the first thing, in my opinion, again, it's my opinion, the first thing we should do is recognize our failure to protect our community. And this is over the last few hundred years. We just haven't done the right thing. And with that in proper perspective, I think that we should make the commitment first before we even get a woman. I think the first thing we should do, make the commitment to work towards the empowerment and the upliftment of our race. And with that stated, every turn we should do whatever we can do to encourage black women to do better for themselves, help our women see the issues that our community face, and help our women understand how important it is for them to support good men in repairing our community, because without their support we can't do it. But that's not what they're getting now. And if they don't get that message from us, then they won't be able to be of great benefit to our people. And we also have to make the decision. We've got to take a protective personality of our women. Now, I want to be clear. I want to make this very clear. I don't want anybody getting confused. I'm not one of these guys going around talking about, oh, the black woman is God and we should bow down to her feet. I ain't bowing down to nobody. I don't do it like that. Now, we respect them. My wife, I don't like the idea of somebody thinking they can disrespect her, and I don't tolerate it. Same with my children. And she knows that. My wife will tell you that. I don't talk it. That's how it is. It's not acceptable. It's a non-negotiable position, and I don't care who you are. You can't do it. At the same time, I exercise a certain amount of dominion in this home because as a black man, I got to be able to start showing leadership and be trusted. But as much of the madness that my wife might drive me through, which all of our women drive us through, I'm able now, as I'm maturing, to recognize I cannot expect that I, as a man, as a black man, I want to call myself a man, I've let our women live the last 25 years since NWA, being called bees and hoes and every other word. As a man, I haven't ended that. And then I expect that they're going to get 25, 30, 40 years of that, and then everything's going to be okay. No. I think we got to start being understanding of the condition of our women, begin to help as much as we can to repair our women, and then the last thing, I think we need to be honest with our women. We can't just look at how beautiful they look physically and just fall into it. We got to be able to say, look, sister, I need someone that can help me. I know we haven't been all we're supposed to be, but if you can't help me, I can't be with you. And that's the best thing I can do for you. I'll be your friend. I'll give you good advice. I'm not going to lay down with you. And we can't be a couple if you can't help me better myself and better my community, because that's what I'm be geared towards. Because when our women see we're real men who can't be bought with some perfume and a good night out, we can't be compromised by what she can do to us sexually or whatever the case may be, they'll start having a different type of respect for us, because we won't be males. We'll actually be men with some degree of character, some degree of discipline. I mean, you can only hold out so much on a black woman. Don't get me wrong. I'm still a black man, but, you know, we got to start being men with some standards that have firm beliefs, have some principles, believe in something, stand on something, and stand our ground somewhere that our women can see and respect. And I think if we do that, I think that the other things that we can do, our women will give us an opportunity to be able to repair the relationships, to be better fathers, to be better husbands, to be better men in our community, if we would just stand up and stand for something that was righteous and correct for our people. And lastly, we got to be the kind of men that we want our daughters to marry. I'll be honest, I have a lot, and I didn't grow up with my father in the home. I grew up with just my mother, so I have a lot of void of that learning of manhood from growing up. But as best I can, I try to be the type of man that my son can emulate and it would be a good man for other women, for a black woman, and the type of man that if my daughter finds a man like me, then she's going to be safe and protected, and she's going to be able to be out here working on behalf of her people with a man that will support her fully and protect her in doing that. So I think as men, that's something we got to do. We got to start making ourselves and crafting ourselves into the type of men that we would want our daughters to be attracted to.
No. Okay. Well, brother, we come to the end of the broadcast. And I thank you for being on here with us tonight.
Well, I thank you for the invitation, my brother.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've just heard from the Irritated Genie, and we're going to close out the broadcast. I hope you all got something out of this. I've been your host, Tarhaka, and good night.
Let me check this number. 488-3857. Operator, could you ring through that number for me? It's been busy now for about 2 hours. Thank you very much. It's an emergency. No, I'm stuck in the phone booth down here. Here's a ring. Thank you. Hello, who is this? Is my baby there? Well, look here. Do me a favor, bro. When she comes, you tell her I'm waiting for her. Right here on the corner in the phone booth. She knows where I'm at because the light is bright, the street sign is black and white. She can't miss me. I'm on the corner of Love Street and Booth Road. You can't miss me. Tell her that. Thank you, baby. Cause I'm stuck in the phone booth, got tattooed on my chest, waiting on you, mama, on the corner of Love.